Hey everyone, welcome to our first live game between Tribal Game and Splitpush. I'm joined by Glacier. How are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going? I'm super happy to be here, and we are so happy to see this second week now starting off. We've got Splitpush, who have looked like they've got a lot of potential. I think the only quadra kill of that first week on Guile Smitey on the Poseidon absolutely popping off. They weren't able to pull out a W against the TBD team last week. But then kind of the same can be said for Tribal, going up against very tough opposition last week with the mobile awards. Several of them played very well. I think they had a really rough game too, if I remember correctly. Just draft kind of went against them, and sometimes you just get really unlucky with the way a game goes. But two teams that are looking to put their first dub on the board this second week, and I'm really excited to look forward to this set.
Yep, so both teams currently sitting at 0 points in the actual league, so both teams getting 2-0. So it'd be very interesting to see which one gets their first few points on the game and who sort of comes out on top of this one.
Exactly, and that's you know, so early into this, it's a little early to say bottom of the league, top of the league. That's a little bit early to say. Um, but after first week, if you lost, handily, if you were a team that's a little newer up against a team that's a little bit more established, or just you got unlucky, whatever the case is, um, you got 0 points. Someone has to get points today. So regardless of who walks out, I'm really looking forward to some hot smite. I'm specifically looking forward to this solo lane matchup. Um, Pextel into American Zombie. And the two players have a fairly similar play style, and they both love to go for pressure warriors. Pextel playing a great game last week on King Arthur, loves to play, the Bolognas, the Achilles, Arthur, he loves those warriors. And American Zombie, 2 games, 2 Bolognas, and he played fairly well in both of them. Team got a little bit behind. He got a little bit behind because of it. But I don't really think that he was a loose condition either of those games. Uh, is there any other matchups that you're looking forward to seeing?
A little bit looking forward to seeing sort of duo lane come out. So Jaybird I'm a big fan of because he generally does very well in duo lane. It's mainly the ganks that puts him behind. And also Dirt Nap
Yeah, if
Dan.
you leave him alone too much, he will solo your. He will solo your ADC if you leave him alone too much. That's for sure.
I will also say we've not been given any team news, so I don't know if anyone's playing with a sub or anything. So we're just going off the base 5 members of the team that have been put down.
Yeah, for sure, and that's something that's super relevant to point out. Um, I think the bans are going to be really interesting to see. I'm expecting both teams to just kind of go for the meta bans here. I expect Arthur to be banned both sets. I expect Merlin to be banned both sets. Possibly a Hunbots, possibly Jingwei, possibly Jormungandr. I don't really expect anything too crazy from the bans here, but I would really like to see Splitpush look to ban out the Hera from Just Be Better. Anyone who has ever played in the Classic League ever against Just Be Better's Hera has firsthand knowledge of why that is a good ban. Um,
I was going to
and you
say, as
can't
picks and
really
bans
ban
has
Hera.
actually loaded up, by the way, just to
It has.
double check.
All right, perfect. So we're actually gonna be able to get in. Then we were waiting on one person; their internet crashed, but we are able to get in. Cool. And it looks like they were possibly taking my advice. The first ban is going to be Merlin from this tribal side, and then immediately the Jingwei band coming out. Just specifically, Jaybird, your Jingwei's nutty. There's
It
no
is.
reason to give you that safe of a god that hurts that hard. So they're getting about the Jormungandr trying to get the King Arthur for themselves. Jormungandr is a very popular pick into King Arthur. Do you think the King Arthur is a worthwhile ban here, or would you ban the Hera instead? They go for the King Arthur, but
I was going to
I,
say
I still
probably the
would
King
like to
Arthur at
say,
this
what do you
stage.
think? Well, there's a lot of gods that, in my opinion, there's a lot of gods who kind of counter Arthur right now. Um, do you think that he's still worth a ban?
I think if you're not comfortable playing against him, he is definitely worth a ban. I have in a lot of the games I have seen him pretty much being countered constantly. But
I kind of agree. I think that's a really good take. We saw Hyde Train absolutely popped off on the Arthur. So yeah, I agree with you there. What are you looking for in the first pick?
well,
The
what
first pick,
wasn't
Arachne,
expecting
by the way.
Arachne. Let's put it that way. I was more expecting the Hera, like you were saying, and then possibly baiting out a couple of other picks. But Arachne's a very strong jungler, but it is very based on getting those early attacks in, picking someone off when they're alone. So very difficult to do into a Poseidon, which also just got locked in.
I really do love that Poseidon. Obviously, a very much of a comfort pick for Giles Mighty. Not only that, but he absolutely popped off on it last week. Cernunnos as well, and that Kronos, I can almost guarantee you that's going to be going to Jaybird in the duo lane. I'll be surprised if it's not a Hera locked in here as well.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit surprised by the Arachne actually being picked up as first pick, because I'm pretty sure that would have been available a lot later down the draft.
And the Raijin picked up into the Poseidon. What do you think about that? That seems like a odd matchup to pick into on purpose.
Maybe just with the Arachne webs and the slow that you're going to give Poseidon at the early game, maybe you can bully a lead out of that.
It is definitely pressure. Yeah, I agree. It is definitely pressure. So pressure-wise, it looks better. Um,
I was going to say, interesting. I think they're both waiting to see what the other solo laner picks here. The fact
and I
that
think
no loner,
support's trying to do the same.
the fact that no solo laners have really been locked in, as we do see a Naja coming out on the side of Splitpush.
And I keep saying, Naja is so good right now. Really love seeing him in support, but I expect to see this Naja go into the jungle. Do you agree?
Uh,
Or do you
I'm
think that's
I'm
possibly a
more
support?
expecting it to be a flex pick because, like you said, I think they're trying to bait out, see what's the other sport goes, what the other solo laner goes, and so just it's there as a flex pick, but possibly it will go into the jungle, in my opinion.
Okay, that makes sense. I would love to see an Erlong or a Kumbhakarna support here, out of this split push side with the way their draft is so far. Just very aggressive, goes very well with Naja, goes very well with Poseidon. I'd also love to see that Naja flex to support, and have a Serket in the jungle. We saw just the other day that that combo is just absolutely nutty with that Crash Dialogue set.
Yep.
So I really would kind of like to see more of an aggressive support here, and that's going to be Terra and Ganesh, two fairly strong support picks banned out here. And in response, the Geb is also going to be banned. And are you expecting another support ban?
It seems that way, but I'm more surprised that a solo laner hasn't really been targeted out. So I would probably expect a Bellona just to get it off Zombie and his comfort pick, and there it is.
And there it is. That's a really good call out because it is all he played last week. Um, the Geb makes me think that they're going to try to focus on the strength of this Arachne, which is diving that backline with their solo laner. So I'd love to see some good peel and disengage come out from the pick, whoever the pick is for Giles Mighty here. Um, Whoever's going to be, obviously it's not going to be him running it, but I'd love to see them pick something that has a good amount of peel.
And Achilles gets locked in.
So I think they're going to wait on that peel. Achilles is a very respectable pick. Did get nerfed a little bit, but laning was never nerfed. It was the late how tanky he was, how stupid tanky he was. That took a little bit of a hit, and a little bit of his sustain took a little. But he's still going to be Achilles. He's still going to be outputting intense amount of damage. He just went from the top pick in the game to a good pick. Apextil's Odin looking like it's going to be hovered here, and I would not be surprised to see this locked in. They ran this once last split as well, if I'm not mistaken. And they love holding this trap pick for late. Um, no way to get out of an Odin cage for anyone on the entire side of Split Push here. And Odin's not the best god right now, but if you build your composition around that, and if you play around it, and if the enemy drafts something that's favorable for it,
I was going to say, well, so far 4 gods have been selected that don't have leaps.
do you think that makes it worth picking out the Odin? I personally love the pick. I've seen it work before. He's very good with the god. I'm just curious, do you think it works?
Um, I do like Odin, but I don't think it necessarily works when you have a lot of other lockdown with the Kronos and the Arachne able to really lock down their single target. So they're going for. I don't know who the Odin is helping out in the fights.
Yeah, that's kind of something that I would have really loved to see. I'm really surprised that Hunbat's not even touched so far. So that's gonna be the Kepri, taking the Kepri away from Splitpush, making sure that there's no way to get someone out of that cage. Once they're dead, they're dead. But Kumba Karna gonna be locked in, and there's that aggressive support. So I'm really looking in this game for Splitpush to aggress through the jungle and the mid lane. And I think for tribal gaming, you're pretty much playing through this Odin, trying to get big, rotate, team fight, and boom, your entire team's in the cage. Is it surprising to you that they picked a fifth god without a leap?
Uh,
Or do you think the pick is a good enough pick to just go ahead and, you know
I
what,
I think
we'll
the
just
pick's
grab a
actually
double
good enough because
phantom?
it's a good counter for Arachne ganks. If the Kumba just happens to be around, the Arachne can totally mess the Arachne out
Yep,
of most of the
just
damage.
mez and walk away. Yeah.
So it's not a huge shock, but I'm also not sure what Guardian you would pick up with a leap at that stage. Possibly a Fenrir, but that's really going aggressive when I don't think your team is designed for that.
Yeah, I do agree. I think focusing a little bit harder on the peel side of things than something as aggressive as a Fenrir is definitely the right call. Who do you give the edge to in these drafts? I really think it just depends on if they can play around this Odin well. Because I think if they utilize the Odin correctly, I don't see a way out of this game. However, if they don't, you Odin cage, your entire team goes in there to kill someone, boom, Naja, Kumba, Kraken. You know, I feel
Yeah,
like Splitbush has a better big circles comp than than does the side of Tribal. So I really don't know which way I want to go with this.
I would probably give the edge to Splitpush based on the draft, but it's literally if the Arachne and Kronos can really come online and get those early picks, then I don't think there's a lot that Splitpush can really do to get back into the game. Maybe they can pick off one person in a team fight, but after that, I don't think there's much available for them.
That's true. That's true. I'd really love to see Kumba be really aggressive with his rotations and try to put some pressure on this Raijin. Try to put some pressure on the Arachne. You've got a Naja, you've got a Kumba, you've got a Poseidon. I'd really love to see them use this pressure here, but we will find out.
Yep, so just gonna throw it into the to a break while we get spectator all set up. So we'll see you guys in a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 2, our first Classic League split game. For this Exilian Classic League, we've got Tribal Gaming and Splitpush. Drafts and bans already done, P's and B's. Pretty please, we're all through with that. I think the big story of this game, Odin. We have not seen that in a competitive set for a while. I'm joined by Waffles today. Tell me what you think of this Odin pick.
Uh, I don't think it meshes well with the team. I'm more curious about this Arachne star webbing these back camps on the left side rather than doing a blue or the mid, the sort of back harpies on the right side of the map. But interesting to sort of see how that plays out.
I honestly haven't seen that before, but I can't say that I hate it, if that's fair.
Yeah, it's
We'll see.
generally a XP camp you don't actually go
Oh
to,
no. He actually threw out the spiders on speed,
which
so he
means he won't
despawned
get.
his third one, which means they're not going to actually get all that farm. So that's going to be a little bit rough for him. He's not going to hit level 2 as quickly as he's hoping to.
So we just have a quick look at the spiders. Nope, the big minion's still left on that back XP
That big
camp.
man is going to be up, and I don't know if he'll realize that before he realizes that he does still hit level 2, so maybe that was just a little bit of a mistake on when he laid him down. Nothing else too crazy is happening. There was a little bit of a purple buff being looked at. Dual discharge manages
Yeah.
to steal that away, but gets punished for it, goes very low health, manages to just get out.
Yep, Capri currently sitting with 3 health pots, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Jaybird really pushing up a bit too far here. Burn that down about 150 HP. Sprint is popped.
But
Naja is
Lucille's
here.
here already. Naja's here, misses Sash, waiting for that big ring bounce.
Oh, it went
And
the
the
other
ring
way.
bounce, oh, it does, but he just manages to get the bounce on it. Jaybird picks him up. Jaybird has the first blood, so that's going to be a little bit more gold for him, but him also spilling is going to really help the laning from this Cerninos to still be okay.
Yep, Arachne
Not
noticing
too
that
far
back
behind.
camp wasn't completed, so it's gone to finish it off. We'll claim the purple buff. And just 2 Guardians in lane at the moment. Splitting camp.
And I'm a little bit surprised to see the Arachne not a little bit more aggressive in these early few levels, but I don't hate it. I think he's very content to just kind of farm up and get to where his team starts rotating as a whole. That's the blink, however. You know, speak of aggression.
I do like that Sash out of Naja onto the right to create a bit more separation from the Arachne and just walking away.
You know, I said the word aggression. He must have heard me. We still got quite the bop going on in dual lane right now. Dirtnap down a little under 200 HP, has a health pot ticking, so he's not terribly scared, but you can't really give Jaybird anyone in this solo lane. There's just no one that he's not going to be aggressive on. And
The Capri tick's going to be enough to just
ooh,
both walking away.
and they are a full level down. I wouldn't back there. Jaybird 100% would die for a kill right now. But on the other side of the map, not really any chance of dying yet, as this, I always forget the name. I always struggle with this name. What is the god? Achilles. Why am I like this? I always struggle. I just go the spear god with the shield thing, you know, that one.
The Shadows guy
I don't know.
comes out onto the right in the mid just to stop the back.
How would you even go about laning into an Odin? Like, you don't really lane into Odin anymore. Do you think that there's been any practice about this, or is this just kind of a pick that you say, oh, okay then?
I was going to say, unless you're playing like a Hell or even a Chang'e with healing, that's the only time you probably expect an Odin to be picked up in the solo lane. So, playing Achilles, I don't think you would have ever practiced against this.
And interesting to me as well, Kuma Karna on the Splitpush side opted to start with the Phantom, which I don't hate. I'm not saying it's bad. I just am a little bit confused by it because they've already used it. It just came back up off cooldown. And what is it providing right now to them in lane?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that's the right relic, presuming the Odin was pretty much in solo, so you're not really going to see that to a level 12 fight.
And exactly, and that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. I think if that was an Odin support, then sure, yeah, I completely understand. But with that Odin being in the solo lane, I don't think the relic choice is necessary.
Maybe there was a slight bit of confusion because maybe you would have had Naja support, Achilles jungle. Oh, sorry, Odin support, and then you. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Got totally confused with the teams.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be expecting to see a Capri jungle unless you've been working on a new strat you haven't told me about, Waffles.
Capri jungle is amazing. I don't know what you're complaining about.
So I'm thinking blink, thunder, pluck, and then hope that they die, because if they don't, you just die. Or what's the game plan? Oh,
Pretty
just be
much.
better takes a lot of damage there.
You pretty much farm till you get cooldown boots, and then you're still short on mana everywhere. But nice pluck there.
Sounds like a good time. Kraken almost manages to take out Just Be Better in the mid lane, but not quite.
Kronos is rotating over, so Derna Dam will fall to the Kronos. Kronos using the rewind. I think Najor is up if they really want to push this, but their mid laner is back, so there's not too much damage
And
out
this
for him.
Kronos does so much damage right now, just walking forward with absolute impunity. Kumbhakarna says, I'm going to root you, and he just turns on, looks at him and says, okay, and?
Dual discharge. Really wants this Najor.
Taken.
I don't think it's the right call.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was even really a call as much as just them kind of watch out for the Najal here, because there could have been a little bit of rotation there. It looks like rather than try to punish the overextension, Splitpush is just going to say, you know what? We're not 100% confident fighting here. Jaybird's pretty big. Let's just go ahead and go back to farming, which I do not hate at all.
I don't hate it, but the fact you still had a Najor ult ready and possibly could have turned it.
But
there it is.
there's that
in the mid lane.
Najal ult. Unfortunately, follow-up is mistimed just a little bit, and that's going to be the Raijin ult. Almost takes down Lucille, manages to get that heal off. So both junglers are going to be backing out with about 200-300 health points and going back to their farm.
Probably going to pick up a kill in this duo lane onto the Kumbhakarna.
This is the one rough point about spectating a game with Jaybird in it, is like you either have to watch him and ignore the rest of the game, or watch the rest of the game and just realize that you're going to be missing kills. Because Jaybird is always going to be looking to be aggressive. You know, he's always going to just be completely aggro, no matter what god he plays. I don't remember if it was him or not, but there was one god, there was one game, we were scrimming someone, and they played...
Jaybird getting a kill. There it is again.
Goodness gracious, this Kronos is starting to get out of control, folks. 3 levels up on the Cerninos, 4-1 here. Again, just starting to get out of control.
Yep, and what's probably worse news for Splitpush is he's building into Bancross rather than going into rings, so his sustain is going to be even more insane in that lane. So I would expect.
And that's a pretty normal first, that's a pretty normal first item. A lot of people are going Bancrofts or Pythagrams first. That's going to be the Kraken. Not quite on the mark enough to hit for full damage. However, Beads comes out anyway just to make sure Just Be Better is able to get out here, and Chief will just kind of walk away with him, and they're going to go back to their red buff. That's a successful red invade.
Is trying to fight 2v1 in the duo lane, possibly looking for.
And I think he's trying to win it. That's Kumbhakarna ult.
Kepri's around if he needs it, so is the Arachne with the blink, and this will be done up down, probably dead, and it will fall to Chief.
So I'm going to be honest, I really would love a Hunbats or a Pele in this jungle, and he loves that Pele pick especially. However, for the draft that they have, and that's just specifically to go with this Odin pick.
Oh.
For the draft they have though, I think they're playing it very well.
We won't mention it, Jaybird, don't worry about it.
Goodness gracious. Alright, so do you want to just keep the casting camera on Jaybird then? And I'll, there it is. There it is again. And I'll just tell you if something else happens. just follow from his point of view, I guess.
Sure.
Kronos, level 9, 4 levels up at 8 minutes 51 seconds.
And
absolutely insane.
Possibly going to go down to the minions there, probably just a bit short.
I don't think so. It looks like it's got about 100-200 health left.
Okay, so we'll mention it now. Jaybird missed the time riff on the Kumba to confirm the kill. I moved the camera away. He decides to dive into the T1 and kill the Kumba anyway.
You know, you can't ever sleep on him. I love the sentry wards coming out in the mid lane better, making sure he's got vision on both sides of that lane. And it's just starting to get a little bit too much. A Pextel invading the speed buff by himself over here, and Lucille's coming over 2 levels down, not in time, realizes that speed buff's gone, and now he's kind of fighting for his life a little bit if Apexel wants to fight. He doesn't. He's just gonna go take the rest of your farm.
I was going to say, I'm surprised there wasn't at least a bit more contention from Odin. He has his armor up. That probably would have been a time to use it and try and kill the Naja.
It looks like he probably is just gonna rotate to try to look for red buff, to try to look for gold, etc., etc. And Dirtnab Dan manages to grab that red buff with the dash.
Not sure I would have taken the red buff away from the Poseidon, but
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. I'm not sure exactly why he's picking it up himself. At 0-4, 2 levels down compared to the Poseidon, hasn't even started stacking his Devourer's Gauntlets yet. Whereas Jaybird already has Bancross finished, and this should be a pretty free Gold Fury. Doesn't look like anyone is gonna get anywhere close to it.
no.
The entire team's coming in, but I don't know if they're gonna get here on time. They're still kind of just looking. That's gonna be the Odin cage if Peck still walks out, and they can actually, honestly, Tribal can engage here if they want.
I think they'll take their Gold Fury, secure their farm, and head back to base to spend that.
So taking a quick look at the graphs here, the XP difference is almost 7,000. The gold difference is 6,000. However, if we're to look at the net worth right now, the net worth difference between Cernanos and Jaybird is what, a fourth of that? Maybe almost a third of it in terms of the gold differential.
Yeah.
It's just Jaybird is just really, really, really huge right now on this Chronos.
And it's
As the blink from Lucille behind manages to hit a really great Naja ult in the mid lane, and we've got, oh no, we've got a Kraken off the mark. That's Beads forced out again by Just Be Better, but he manages to get out, as does Chief. Kumba's here and he says let's play. Apexel's here and he would like to play as well. This is gonna be a tier 1 tower in mid, folks. Apexel full health, I'm just telling you.
Yep, the T1's fallen in the Dura lane. Poseidon's got no mana to stop this. And Apexel's killing American Zombie behind by the speed buff.
And you know, we were talking a little bit before the game about the way that these teams. Oh, of course he gets it. Of course, yeah. I mean, why let anyone else have a kill, Jaybird? I mean, honestly. We were talking a little bit before this set even started about the way these two teams played, and you said something that I found interesting. You said you thought a lot of the time that Tribal Gaming likes to lean on Jaybird. 6-1, 4 levels up. I don't think they're leaning as much as they're just straight being dragged along. Jaybird just says, you know what, we're going to win this game.
Tribal generally have amazing games once Jaybird is ahead. If people shut down Jaybird in the early game, their team fights aren't quite all there. But as you can see, Jaybird 6-1, top player damage, about 7,000 at this stage. You can't really ask too much more from your carry.
You really can't, and I'm loving how this Arachne, rather than focusing on fight, is just farming her happy little spooter butt off. 3 levels up now, and you know, Naja's only has 1 death, but the katanas are just so strong for farming, and Chief's 2nd top XP per minute, top gold per minute right now, and just really doing a great job of farming, getting ahead so that this Arachne pick needs to be in a position to be able to go one-on-one in the backline, catch whoever's out of position. Oh, no, not again, not again. Did you see how much that auto hit for? Did you see how much that auto hit for? That man has a family! That man has a family! Jaybird, this is cyber harassment! And he's in the middle of 3 and he could not care less. That's Kumbhakarna ult. I'm curious if he's going to be Naja ult, that he is. But the Naja ult's going to take him out of Kraken. And they are investing everything into getting Jaybird back. But he is going to go ahead and ult. Just Be Better picks up Lucille in the backline. Kepri ult is on Jaybird too. And he's gaining health as this team fight goes in. Just Be Better picks up another kill. American Zombie falls. Kumbhakarna looking to fall as well. But, I mean, what do you even do here?
I honestly have no idea as he picks up guy.
Well, Just Be Better may fall here. No.
Nope.
Why would it? No. What? Jaybird going back in. Jaybird.
I mean, I don't hate the call to go back in with Arachne.
Please leave. Just calm down. Let me breathe for a second. Okay, thank you. 8-1, folks. Now, 8-1. 5 levels up on his opposition right now. Jaybird is having the time of his life.
And just because I don't want to be too mean to Tribal here, they misplayed that so badly. The Kepri and the rewind from the Chronos came out at the same time.
But they're so ahead that
They're
it
still
doesn't matter.
ahead and
Split
won the
push isn't
fight.
able
Yeah.
to. Yeah, split push isn't able to even fight back. And a little bit of kind of a new competitive team comms coming out there. You saw the Naja picking up like, all right, I got this. I'm gonna pick him right back up. He doesn't get to play the game, and the Kraken was already being used as well.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see a little bit more cohesion coming out from the split push side. I don't think they're playing this poorly. I think they just let a Kronos start snowballing. And that's something that's just really rough. It is what it is. But I'd really like to see them have a little bit more cohesion as they go onto these important targets for them to dive, for them to take down. As they, Chief is in their jungle going across all sorts of wards, but they can't even think about trying to punish him for it. They're trying to 4 or 5v1 a Pextel who's just walking through them all and then walking away.
That must be heartbreaking for Durnham down there. Just your auto attacks doing nothing to the Odin this stage, as that's the only Fury going down to Tribal.
What did it take? 8 seconds? 9? Somewhere in there?
Yeah.
I love this Capri looking like he's gonna go for, rather than the full CDR build that we see sometimes. I love going for that aura build. But you can. Kronos almost has a Telkins finish. You've got
I will
spiders.
Say point,
You've got the Odin cage.
Split push. This isn't your fire giant to contest. Send someone over to that right, left lane and get some farm.
I'd honestly really love to see them stop grouping up as much, defend, and have those squishy targets start focusing. There's that Kraken that we talked about. Apex still might die here. Merkin Zombie is chasing him, 100% certain that he wants to get that kill. The blink comes out though, and now Merkin Zombie's way in the back lane, getting wailed on by this Arachne. On the other side, Lucille's taking all sorts of damage. Jaybird and Just Be Better take him down. Kumba's here as well, very low, and he just runs level 9 Kumba Karna right now. Looking at a level 16 Kronos and a 15 Raijin just says no thank you.
I was gonna say something I totally forgot about before they did that fire giant. They literally took an Oni Fury, so...
Yeah, I mean the timing there could not have been better. The timing there could not have been better. That should be every T2 in the game.
I was gonna say, if they're gonna push this Phoenix, I don't think there's any defense for it.
It really looks like they're just gonna go ahead and opt to straight push it. They're splitting a little bit. So Pextel and Chief in the mid lane, and then Discharge Just Be Better and Jaybird over here on the other side, and no one knows how to defend against it. Durnap Dan all by himself doing what he can, but he gets blocked, and then he barely manages to get out loose. Oh my goodness. There's not even a chance to breathe. You mind taking over for me a little?
Sure, like that damn caught in the Odin cage. Big Kraken coming out, but not really enough to fool anyone. And I believe...
Is that just game?
That should be
game. Is that a 17-minute game?
Kraken's used. I don't think they've got anything else to really defend.
They don't really have any other... Yeah, goodness gracious, glorious. Oof.
Tribal Gaming.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is why we camp Jaybird.
Pretty much. That is the lesson of the day, camp Jaybird.
I will say as well, 5-0-2, Chief looked very good. And when he is allowed to just free farm, when he's allowed to get to that mid to late game, he does really great in team fights. He has really good target selection. He knows where he needs to be, who he needs to be on. He loves going in and getting those important picks. I'd love to see a little bit more pressure placed on him and Jaybird this next game, but that has to be a little bit demoralizing to only pick up 1 kill and have the game in at 17 minutes. What do you think? Like, how do you kind of make the adjustment necessary to say, okay, that was a bad game 1. We're gonna go back in this and we're gonna smack them and we're gonna set them back and we're gonna win game 2. How do you even start that conversation?
Well, I think first thing first, get game 1 out of your mind and just totally reset for game 2. I think you've picked a team comp that in theory works, but you're up against Tribal and it didn't work. I think maybe even try something super aggressive, like we've seen the Narsha, the Circuit, just absolutely dominate Jaybird in the early and just trying and snowball an early advantage to stop Tribal doing it.
I'd really love to see a start where jungle and support don't start in the dual lane. Kind of put a little bit of kind of false, like lull him into a false sense of security a little bit, and then send over a 2 or a 3-man gank and try to get Jaybird. But I would definitely be looking to take the Chronos away from him and ban the Jingwei still, or ban the Chronos and pick the Jingwei. Like, it's not like you're gonna ban him out. He's got other gods he plays,
Yeah.
but the Chronos and the Jingwei are both so safe right now that they're almost ungankable. Uh, is there enough of a? Because the issue is, on the other hand, if you just send everyone to dual lane to try to deal with Jaybird early, Pextel's gonna have the run of your jungle, and he's not gonna mind.
No, that's 100% true as well. So I think you're right. Maybe ban out the Chronos, maybe ban out the Jingwei, and put him on a less safe hunter that you can kind of expose its weaknesses of.
Yeah, and I think if they're confident with a Jingwei pick themselves, I wouldn't mind seeing them just ban the Chronos, ban one of those top two, the Merlin, the King Arthur, the stuff you don't like to see. And then just first pick that Jingwei for themselves. It's safe. It doesn't reveal anything about the rest of your comp. But yeah, I really would like to see them take away the safety from Jaybird, force him to be able to be punished for being as aggressive as he likes to be.
Yeah, and as much as I love the Kumbhakana pick just for the safety it gave a team, you weren't able to provide any safety on it, so maybe even just pick a very aggressive support. Maybe change
Yeah, I
that around.
completely agree. I agree, and I do think Kumba's able to be very aggressive, but 3 members of Splitpush not even able to access level 12, not even able to get the second relic online. So I think it'll be very interesting, but they need to get a little bit more comfortable in the early game phase.
Yeah, or maybe do something a bit different where just start your support in that solo lane and just let your ADC farm under tower. If you're going to be out pressured by Jaybird, don't let him just kill you and constantly farm you. Just stay under tower and try and play it as safe as possible.
I mean, to be fair, he dove the tower by himself, what, 3 times that game?
Yeah, but Kronos has got that margin of safety with the ultimate. If he gets too low, he can just ult
That's
out.
fair.
Give him a little bit
That's
more to
fair.
think
That's
about.
fair.
As game 2 picks and bans have already actually started. So we'll switch to that now.
All right, I'm loading into that hopefully in the next few seconds. It does say I'm spectating his current match, not queued to spectate it, but it also doesn't show me actually in the picks and bans, so.
So swap teams
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
around.
All right.
And we have a
I
Jingwei
do
first
really
ban.
like the fact that.
Sorry, go for it.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna point out I like the fact that they went for the first picks. They banned out Kronos and Jingwei, forcing themselves to either pick up the Arthur or play into it. Do you think we'll see them pick it up?
I'm hoping they do pick it up, for to be totally honest with you, because it's a very strong character to sort of have in your pocket, and although he can be shut down, I also think that Naja is a very valid first pick as well.
I agree. He hit some absolutely nutty alts, but I don't think he's high enough priority to be picked when the King Arthur's open and when a Pextel has run so rampant on it before. It'll be very interesting. They've got to be very confident in their solo. If they're willing to let this just go through that freely. Not the first pick that I was expecting. I'll put it that way.
That is also not the first pick I would expect out of Tribal, but the Thanatos getting locked in.
All right, possibilities of that being a Thanatos in this solo lane? Any? None? Some? What do you think?
It's not something I've seen before, but if it's a Thanatos in the solo lane, you're leaving open the King Arthur for Zombie to pick up.
And maybe he just thinks he can.
Uh,
Jaybird picks up the on her
I was
here,
going to say,
rounding
in
out their
theory,
first little selections.
I don't hate the idea behind a Thanatos versus the King Arthur. I have no idea how it works in practice.
Yeah, I agree there. I think the wave clear would be a good bit rough. Dirtnap Dam gonna opt back to go to what he played first week. The Uller and Merc and Zombie gonna be on this Bologna. And King Arthur is still open for bans, 5 picks. This is not something we usually see at the Classic League level until people have kind of shown that they as a team can kind of play against it and they don't care if you pick it. So a little bit interesting.
I was going to say, the later it gets, the less chance you have to actually pick a counter to King Arthur. Especially with your Bellona's pretty much shown the hand in the solo lane now.
For sure, I agree. What do you think about a Hercules pick in the solo lane right now?
Uh,
I think it does really well into a lot of gods that are open right now. I also like the fact with the Uller and the Bologna, they're able to deal with the Odin if it gets picked again. What do you think about something like a Hercules?
Hercules for the side of Tribal. Uh,
Yeah.
I think it's a decent natural pick, but Fafnir locked in for the side of Tribal. It does a
And
lot
that
in that
Fafnir.
solo lane, and just I do think it could probably bully a little bit Tribal, but it's still you're waiting to that mid game. But it's only if you get to that mid game, if that makes sense.
Fafnir kind of almost says to me that they're going to be looking to go for another auto attacker character. Do you think there's any possibility that this is an on her in the mid lane, or do you think that's a pretty staple Jaybird pick, and maybe we're looking for possibly like a Soul or a Freya in the mid lane?
I would be very surprised if I didn't see Freya banned out, because I would probably expect Freya to go into that ADC role and let her go into that mid lane, as we do see the King Arthur finally banned out.
I had no surprise there. No reason to leave it open.
The other two bans coming out are the Kumba and Geb.
And I like that. Just banning stuff. He played Kumba last game. Make him play something else. Let's see what he's got. They do, however, leave the Terra open that they did decide to ban, and Kepri that they picked up last game is open as well. So those are
And
two things definitely worth looking at. There's that Freya ban that you're talking about. Heads up play by Splitpush to recognize the stupid amount of pressure that a Freya would have brought. But
it
Soul
does pick
immediately
up the
locked
soul.
in.
Yep.
You can't win. Once a Hunter and a Fafnir is locked in, you don't have enough bans to ban out everyone who's viable. You just don't. So you kind of have
No,
to prepare
especially.
yourself to play against it.
But I do like that the Yao Kwong sort of pick up, so sort of counteracting the Thanatos execute with their own sort of execute of their own.
And now this is almost telling me that they're looking for this Naja to flex over to support this time, and if so, I love it.
Yeah, especially when Soul's margin for safety isn't really till level 3, so you can really sort of exploit that before that comes online.
Especially the Naja with a Uller, such an aggressive lane, again, like I said, trying to put some pressure out. And the Op Wash in the mid lane. Not at all what I was expecting. What do you think about picking such an immobile mage into a composition that has such good chase and lockdown?
Uh, I don't like it, presuming there's not really much in the team to really set up an outpush, but I kind of like the idea behind it that if you are taking a team fight and you're losing, you can just throw out that outpush ult and just disengage. It does provide a little bit of margin of safety there, but there's not really much set
Empty
up
the
for it.
crypts. I agree with you. I think it covers so much ground. However, that being said, I think the Bologna ult goes well with it. Sobek gets picked up. And right now, it looks like it's going to be the Sobek and the solo lane, Fafnir in support. No surprises there. Uh, I'm really interested to see if they're able to get some pressure here. They've got the Naja and the Uller, but they didn't pick a pressured jungler. So we'll see, because Thanatos is just about as pressure of a jungler as you can get, honestly. You get 1 or 2 kills, those scythes are going to start hitting for, half of a health bar.
Yeah, but he's also not actually got the greatest level 1 clear, so it's possible look to an invade with Naja.
Let's see. Is it going to be? It is going to be a soul in the middle lane. Would you invade into a Soul and a Thanatos?
Uh, Generally, yes, because I don't think once they use their ability on the camp, they've got nothing else up to actually defend the camp. And a Naja ring toss can probably steal the camp and possibly leave him about half HP. Possibly you could get a kill.
Interesting stuff. Again, I really like the composition here from Splitpush, but I feel like there's one pick that's just a little bit out of place. And I'm looking for this Opwash to kind of get bullied a little bit by the rotations once the on her Fafnir, if they're able to get out of lane at an even or a head standpoint, I think Opwash is going to be bullied a good little bit. Thanatos ult, even to start a fight, just Thanatos ult into Sobek pluck. Just so much lockdown, so much chase potential from this tribal game side. Really good objective based forward composition. Gobble game, whenever we draft our, a Fafnir or an auto attack based comp, we always call it the lawnmower because you're going to walk forward lawn mowing everything in the path. And it really does look, especially with that Sobek for the chase, especially with the Thanatos, that's exactly what Tribal's looking to do. Is just lawnmower the opposition here.
Yes, I'm a bit confused the immobile status of sort of Alposh, especially with you did expect the Anhur to sort of go into the mid, which would have had a jump, but it's actually going into the ADC role. But against the Soul,
I'm
it's
more
not really.
expecting to see the Jaybird on the Onher, honestly, just because he's so good on the pick and it's such an aggressive pick. But if they hadn't banned out Freya, it was kind of a toss-up.
It might
But
be
yeah,
a
I
little bit
agree.
interesting on the Alposh if he can. I can't remember what the free ability is called because it's just all minions basically. But the
What
anti-heal
is
on
it,
that and the
Decay,
stun,
possibly?
I think it might be decay. But if Soul does her healing and then that anti-heal actually comes on and stuns the Soul, if they can actually work something off that.
That'll be really interesting. And don't get me wrong, Upwash is a great god when it comes to competitive if you can keep him alive. His ultimate and his entire kit gives so much zone control, so much burst, so much just damage over a huge area. But to balance that, he has the health pool of a mosquito and the movement speed of a snail. So very hard to pull off successfully, especially in a composition where they drafted an Ao Kwang in the jungle and a assassin in support, and then their Bellona, their only hard CC ability that she has is her ultimate ability. So we will see.
We're going to throw it to a quick break while we get the spectator ready, so we'll be back in a bit.
Game 2, Tribal Gaming against Splitpush. My name is Glacier, and I'm joined by Waffles. And Game 1 was a little bit of a bloodbath, wasn't it?
Yep, pretty much Jaybird doing Jaybird things, coming online and absolutely dominating, as we see a quick surrender vote coming out 5 seconds in before the game even starts.
You've got to love a team with a sense of humor, though, honestly. And that's one of the biggest things. This is Classic League, folks. We're here to learn. We're here to grow as a squad. We're here to learn together. This isn't really about the most competitive Smite. It's a way to get introduced to competitive Smite as a level and to grow as a team. And so I love the fact that both of these teams have enough of a sense of humor to kind of, they're real. They're real with themselves. They know, you know what, we're against a team that's very, very good individually.
There's a lot of
So
poke
I
coming out of
love
that
that.
Naja, so good start. Splitpush immediately doing better in this duo lane.
Yeah, but they're already out cleared again. They only take one minion down before the other team takes down literally everything. So that Jaybird this time is going to go straight to the red buff.
Yep. And I think this is probably a great call with Posh having pretty much no contest.
Absolutely, especially when Ao Kwang, it takes not a very short time to clear at level 1, So that's going to be pinged out,
I
but
do like the early
unfortunately,
wards coming out.
and I think we saw him last game as well. That's a great axe from Dirtnap Dan, and we saw him hit a lot of those in their set against TBD last week. I'm waiting for there to be like one minion.
There we go.
Or it goes, and that might be. Oh, the bladed arrow not quite finding a home. I'm almost rooting for them, and I love Jaybird to death, man. But I'm almost rooting for him to get flooded after how much he ran the game last set.
Good jump in, jump away. Nope, not even jump up. Jaybird.
Oh, and they're so low. That's a sprint. But they can 100% turn this and kill here.
But this is
Hail
what I
of
did want to
arrows
see,
misses
a
as well.
much more aggressive duo lane, but Thanatos is over here and they've not really got the mana to stay.
And they don't know. They don't know that the Thanatos is here. That's going to be a... Oh, Scythe just off the target. Is there any follow-up here? Not really.
No, just I think going back to farming, but that Pearl buff is still up, so I think Ao Kwang will just claim that for his team now.
And just like we expected, Apwash being pushed very quickly under tower. Guile Mighty respecting the amount of damage that Soul passive does this early.
But the issue with being pushed under tower is Soul can pretty much free farm, not use abilities, skill away, and keep that passive constantly up, as Thanatos is looking to come for a gank. Not quite.
And you know what's rough? On the other side, Dirt Now Dan taken very low, but on the other side, this Bologna is not having fun at all laning into the Sobek. Every single time that bludgeon gets started, either instant pluck or instant 2, and I can, Sobek has been one of those gods that no one likes to play, but every so often he's just all of a sudden kind of OP broken back in the meta, and they never really change him. They just kind of, people get bored of playing him, but he's so strong in this solo lane. So much sustain, so much interrupt, like just a great pickup here. I love this Sobek.
Especially against the Bologna pick. I think that's
Exactly.
probably strongest matchup.
I always loved running it into Bologna, especially. I always hated when I got solo, you pick Bologna and hope that you get pressure, and then you run up against the Sobek who's good, and they just kind of, nope, you don't get to clear. Nope, you just on cooldown,
Yeah, but so far, about 4 minutes in, still no kills, so this is a big improvement for Splitpush.
It really is, and there's a lot more aggression, and they look a little bit more confident in their draft this time. This has a lot more, I want to say, closer to the identity that they tried to play last week. I don't know if that's necessarily the perfect description for it, but I think they're more comfortable on these picks just a little bit.
Yeah. And Thatcher does come out onto Jaybird, just not really able to confirm too much more damage, but I believe Jaybird's still with 1 health pot, so... But Ao Kwang is over here as they look to invade the purple buff.
They could definitely fight here if it's timed right. That's going to be beads
her.
forced out.
That is huge.
And those beads are going to be down until 6 minutes 30 seconds. They are going to be able to look to aggress hard here as long as they call out the Thanatos followed, but Thanatos in the mid lane very managed. Guile Mighty doing a good job of respecting, you know, Thanatos, respecting Soul, and just farming under.
Pretty much doing what you need to do if you pick an outpush, because if you're in the middle of your lane, you are a target to be killed pretty much on cooldown. So stay on the tower, don't lose too much farm to the tower.
And as Upwash, once you get a couple levels down, work leveling. So I don't mind him, you know, not leaving your tower.
Najal
Problem.
taking Anher up into the air, don't let down waiting at the bottom. The stun comes out from the back mid to save his Anher, and Sprint is popped, and they should be able to get away here.
They're doing everything that they can do to take Jaybird down, and he manages to just get out by the skin of his teeth so many times now here. And Dirt Nab Dan really struggling to find some mana. He seems to always be out of mana. Something that you struggle with on this Uller pick. Would a Mage's Blessing have helped there? Yuki!
From Yuki
My man! My man. You know,
Zombie is picked up in the third lane. It is a bit of revenge there.
it really is. And honestly, I loved the way that they played that. You're saying, you know what, he was so big last game, it is worth diving here even if we have to use our team fight sprint. You know, the shell.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. We're gonna be aggressive and we're going to make him back down. Actually, looks like the rush on the sovereignty coming out here from the Naja. What do you think about that? He does have his passive, so if he's gonna be staying in lane, he not lacking from movement. I think that's kind of a galaxy brain play. What do you think?
I think it just provides a bit more protection if they are planning to stick in this duo lane to give it a bit more safety and not let Jaybird come online as easily. Gives your ADC, I believe, a little bit of physical protection, but I think if you go Gauntlet of Thieves, it gives you a little bit more with the magical side of it, but I don't really hate Sovereignty.
Well, sovereignty is really good for earlier pressure. Gauntlet isn't. The thought process behind Gauntlet is you're providing 10 protections of each kind, so it's nice. It also gives you a lot of health, but sovereignty is right away. Sovereignty also says I'm healthy and I have a lot of prots.
Taken up to the sky again by the Naja. Alquang.
But Dan's not there. However, Alquang is, and that's going to be the beads.
Does get pushed away, and they are looking for rotation. I wouldn't go that far in, Dan. Just
Soul forced out, as is Empty the Crypts, and the Aegis from Guile Smitty enough. Can Lucille look for more? No, it looks like he's gonna go ahead and back off. Guile Smitty just barely managing to get out here, and Dual Discharge over here still fighting over those Oracles, manages to go down to Yuki Gaming's ring bounce, but that's a really good couple of plays there.
Yeah, even though they didn't pick up any kills in it, it's forced Anher back to base on the duo lane, and Soul really getting the outpush low, just not able to confirm a kill as Thanatos
Watch out for this Thanatos rotation.
Oh,
and
Dan's got no mana.
Has not been picked up. Oh, but the Thanatos all off the mark. Dirt Nab Dan, 0 mana, trying his best to get out. Does not manage. Yuki on cooldown, not able to kill for his ADC. Walks the other direction, no problem. He's got that full sovereignty finished already, but it wasn't able to help Dan at all.
No, and I do think Dan did the right play walking back in towards the Fafnir, making the Thanatos miss his ult. I think it was more a juke than a missed ult, but still he does fall to the engagement after, and the level buff will be stripped away here.
And that's a great response from the Thanatos, recognizing the pressure in duo lane and saying, you know what, okay, cool, I'm just gonna come kill you, and you keep trying to pressure then.
I was gonna say the slight issue for this Uller is he's still not really got his Transcendence stacking, so he's still gonna be having those mana issues next time he goes back to lane.
It really is, and I'd love to see Lucille start to, or not Lucille, Yuki start to rotate a little bit more. As he is in the mid lane, misses the ultimate, unfortunately, on this Soul, manages to get off with the Saprate, but I like to see him more towards the mid lane and try to get some pressure there. Instead, it looks like they might try to gank here, but they don't have a sentry, so they're walking over wards.
That is a great pillar stopping all that outbound damage coming his way. But half health on the tower. And I do like they recognise that Jaybird was the issue, and they are ganking him as much as possible and just trying to get these kills.
They are, but the rest of the team's falling behind. Level down in solo and in mid, and I feel like those two places are kind of getting pressured out a little bit
I
more
was
than
going to say, if you're
necessary right now.
playing Alposh in mid, I would expect you to fall behind because you're not really getting the XP camps from the mid harpies. But once your sort of damage comes online, you might be able to pick up a kill. That's when you sort of claw it back. So at this stage, I would expect the Alposh to be slightly behind.
And I agree with that. I just think if the support can start to rotate over pretty soon, I think it would be really
As I
good.
think they're in trouble here in the duo lane again with Thanatos coming and the Fafnir rotating behind.
It was on a ward though, so they do know they're looking to go out and stun onto Yuki. And doesn't really do anything.
As guys, I
And
know
the
the
purple
Crips,
ping.
the Aegis used, but I think Just Be Bear will get this kill with a couple of autos and does manage to find the last hit to pick up the kill on that
And that's what I'm
Alposh.
saying. An Alposh can't be expected to continue to duel this soul for so long without any help. Jaybird picks up Dirt Net Dam, however, in the duo lane, and Yuki's under half as well. Very low. The shell comes out. Only 2 or 3 of those, but he sashes back in trying to get, and he does pick
get
up
the
Chief.
confirm on the phone.
Yuki playing very well.
But I think they. I don't know. I was going to say Jaybird back in, but with the Fafnir and Anher, this could be a lot of pressure on this T1 tower.
And it's 2-5 right now, and the 2 kills are on the one person. No offense, that you don't want them on. You're looking for, you're looking for your damage, for your kills, for your gold to be on literally anyone else in this game right now. Ao Kwang loves to get to late game. Opwash loves to just kind of be in
And
late
there
game
you see
as soon
the
as possible,
Alposh
please.
damage come out, but Just Be Bear should be able to get out of that.
Yeah, and what is the change that's needed? Because it seems like anytime there's an important fight, the squishy is falling before the final damage can even come through. Then Yuki is able to pick it up. The dive onto T1 tower for that first kill, and then there, where Dirtnap Dan is focused out. How do you think they make that switch?
I think now's the time to switch. Now you have your support coming onto this Alposh. He's a bit more online and can now put a lot more damage than he can at the early game. I think now you focus your attention on mid, try to pick up kills, and then once you get the kills in mid, possibly look for rotations elsewhere.
And most of the time we do see the Talaria boots. However, this time we've got a reinforced Greaves coming out from Yuki here. Not scared of anything. Runs straight towards the Sobek and the Thanatos in this solo lane.
Yeah, the Lone have really pushed under tower here and struggling. I don't expect this T1 tower to be around for too much longer.
So we're at that stage in the game where everyone kind of goes, all right, well, that's how it's the game. All right, let's go farm.
Pretty much, yeah. Let's get to the late game.
There's
the red
a
buff.
3k gold difference right now. It's slowly continuing to grow. It's not anywhere as...
Again. And the Unherald comes out, but Sol stealing the kill off Jaybird.
And I was about to say that it's not as much of a difference as it was last game, and it isn't. But I think it's going to be soon.
But they did have a good counter engagement there. Picking up the Anher, Sol is back into the fight, and will pick up Lucille. Naja taking Sol up to the sky.
But Thanatos ult on Guile Smitey and just absolutely deletes him. Yuki now again the last standing. He's got a good amount of health, but it doesn't matter. Apextal on the other side solos Merkin's zombie somehow, not exactly sure even what happened. Yuki picks up another kill and he's playing out of his mind, but he can't keep his team alive. Absolutely destroying here, 3-1 on this Naja, but the rest of his team is just falling prey to rotation.
I was going to say, I'm having a quick look at the player damage charts, and it's pretty standard, but I kind of want to see a player damage chart for this T1 tower in the left lane, the amount it's hit, and got final kills for that Naja.
Yeah, that's super fair. Honestly, I'd love to see whenever, Tribal loves to do aggressive objectives. I'd love to have a grouping, a knowledge of, hey, we're able to fight them a little bit more right now than we were last game. I'd love to see them group. I don't see enough sentry wards on the map right now. I'd like a little bit more of that from both teams, especially Tribal. But I'd love a little bit more wards and vision, and start to know that you can fight in certain areas, but to not fight in the areas that you don't need to.
As we see Jaybird pretty much in trouble here with the free gang, but managing to get the ult off. Can he pick up Dirt Nut Dam before he actually falls? Soul is rotating to help him out here, pushing back the Alquang, and I believe the Alquang will catch up in time.
And the Soul, rather than looking for anything, is just gonna try to get the empty the crypts off. That's gonna be all missed. Aegis forced out of Soul, and Soul will definitely fall. Lucille picks up the final hit. But on the other side, Pextel and Dual Discharge are forcing.
Nope, everyone gets out safely, but are they possibly looking for a speed buff invade here from the back there?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Pextel and Dual Discharge have just been in the enemy jungle for a full minute now. Merc and Zombie, in a bad way, in a bad space, just gets completely taken out by this combo.
Still does confirm the speed buff, but
and rushing
that
the
is
Berserkers
a lot of damage coming off onto the Sobek.
What do you think about rushing the Berserkers into the Sobek? Do you still think that's the call, or do you think you would have gone for maybe the Boots rush into maybe a Genji's, or do you think the Berserkers is so good that you have to build it anyway?
I think the Berserkers is probably the right call. Let me have a. I can't look at Zombie. Well, they're dead. So, if you're going to be pushed out of your bludgeon constantly, I think you need to use your Scourge and just auto attack the wave and deal with the Sobek. However,
I really do. Yeah, I really agree there. I think into those matchups, maxing that Scourge is really important, and it seems like he has opted to do so. So, unfortunately, just being a little bit pressured out by the Sobek pick. And it's kind of almost like a harken back to Season 4. Fafnir takes a lot of damage in the middle lane, you're right. But they've got a ward there and they know that Soul's coming.
And I think Jaybird's going to possibly look to take... Nope, going for the purple buff invade instead.
And the biggest story of this game right now is look at the experience difference. 7,700 experience difference right now. That's huge. Naja takes someone up into the air and we are it's already dropped. Lucille gets the last hit on Chief. Jaybird looks like he'll most likely fall here. However, the Eagles rally misses. Soul ult comes out. Lucille picks up another kill, and this Alquang is dominating. He's on a rampage, 5 kills. Start that gold, folks. Justy Better's here. Justy Better can steal it, turn on him and kill him, or zone him out, whatever you'd like. Lucille outputs a ton of damage. Fafnir in the area as well. And I think this might go down before they can get here. Lucille dies for it, but that is a gold free.
You need to get out now. You've got the objective. You lost one member already. Just get out. Take the win. That was really well played from Splitpush there.
It really was. I love how both teams are... Last game it was just kind of a gas pedal. Jaybird got huge and he said, yo, follow me, we're just going to go do everything. This game, a lot more respectful from both teams, I think is the word I'll use.
Soul picks up the tower mid.
Both teams kind of farming, and they're going to decide, you know, when they need to go.
Yeah.
And that's Shell from Yuki Gaming over here in the solo trying to defend their blue. They get backed off quite a good little bit. Dirtnap Dan is around as well, heading towards the mid lane to pick up some farm. And that should mean a free tier 1 tower in left lane, as Thanatos and the Anhur both are there. Thanatos will go in with a couple minions just to clean up the deal, make sure it.
I was going to say, as much as this Anhur was focused, he's 2 levels up at the moment. So I don't blame Dirtnut Dan for not being in that left lane trying to farm. But I think he might be able to pick up the Thanatos here.
And we don't see Anhur building crit very often.
But
in fact, I don't know the last time I've seen it.
Sorry, free showing in left lane pretty much gave a free Pyromancer to Tribal there. So I'm surprised they didn't just keep pushing up that left lane and get the T1 in a little bit of response. They sort of went into the jungle to try and find farm that was not really up.
Soul's a little... Whew, excuse me. I don't know what it is, but I've been so tired recently. Probably not sleeping. You know, not sleeping can tend to make you tired. It's crazy how that works, isn't it? Ugh. But yeah, no, you're completely right. 3 people showed and left. Pyro goes down. A little bit surprising that they don't opt to at least get that tier 1 tower. Go ahead and take that objective off the map. Jaybird, again, I want to point this out. You're not seeing it correctly. That is a rage on her. He knows that he's big, so he's just gonna go ahead and build crit. And
I
that's
also
not something that we see very
I also
often.
don't hate it if you've got the Alcon coming at you in just a couple of basics with a bit of a crit chance. You might be able to kill him before he can kill you.
And not only that, but you've got the soul for objective destroying, you know, with the way soul passive works on, you know, towers and objectives so well.
I think
3 here
this is a bit too much of a
onto
commit. I think
that's
back
4
off.
here, and they don't manage to do anything. Now it's a 4v4 face
They've not got
off
a T1 to really back off with Thanatos lurking in the
as
jungle.
well. Thanatos, exactly. I was about to say Thanatos is kind of I wonder. So a little bit of a split off here. All teams heading their respective ways.
Again, a good call for Splitpush there to actually back off once they realised they could not get the Ana and before the team could actually rotate and finish them off. So much better performance than game one.
So we've got 2 pestilences this game. Do you think that's something that's a mistake? Do you think it's on purpose? Do you think it's worth it?
Thanatos just ulting out to safety. Two pestilence.
I honestly don't hate it.
I don't
On
hate it.
her, building devours with crit, soul healing with the Bancrofts, and then the Sobek. You know, they don't have, and then the Thanatos, obviously. Sorry, but they don't have that much healing, and pestilence doesn't really stack. Do you think it's an item that needed to be in that support? Or do you think like maybe an Onis or a Genji's would have kept him a little bit more alive? He's building a little selfishly, but I have to say the way he's playing, I don't mind it. 3, 1, and 7, he's been involved in every single one of the kills, and I would say he's been instrumental in every single one of the kills for this split push side.
Yeah, I don't mind the double pestilence. Maybe one of those pestilence should be swapped out for a brawlers, even if it is on the spot, just for that little bit more damage, especially when Narja's doing the ring toss, as Narja does take Miss who went up to the sky there.
But unfortunately, Eagle's Rally was used to get out by his soul lane, and there's 0 follow-up for Yuki Gaming here on this Naja. And there's the empty the crypts, and there's a lot of damage coming out. Lucille kind of blinks through, picks up Jaybird. Chief comes in and picks up Dirt Nat Dan. Just be better, very, very low, but manages to slow out Lucille. Lucille half health. Chief is going back in. Yuki's incredibly low, manages to sash, but he should be falling pretty soon here. He does, and this is still a 3v3. Merc and Zombie, however, is at a sliver of HP.
That was a great play from the Alquang there. Using the blink to keep Zombie alive, expecting the pluck to come through to kill Zombie there.
Do you remember when Emilzy made a play similar to that on his tier 2 by Fire Giant with like, I think it was Sylvanas, where he blinked in front of a pluck and then did some, I forget exactly what it was, but it was absolutely nutty. He blinked in front of something that had killed a squishy, then he pulled the enemy in, and then he like rooted him in place, and they actually managed to get a kill under the T2 on that Fire Giant. Do you remember that?
You might need to send me a clip of that.
I gotta go look for it and find it at some point, because it was one of the. That's exactly what. As soon as that blink came out, making sure that a pluck wouldn't go through, I was like, I love it, Emilzy.
Primal Fury will be started here by Tribal, and I don't think there's going to be much response to the push. They all sort of grouping on the right side of the map.
And I don't honestly think that the grouping is poor here on the right side of the map. However, they didn't have much vision, and they didn't have a way to contest.
Don't think
I completely agree. American Zombie's not here. Chief is here, Discharge is here, and they're going to go ahead and head right off. That bladed arrow did maybe 2.5 damage to Discharge. That's going to be Eagle's Rally, that's going to be Empty the Crypts, that's going to be the Fafnir ult, and Lucille does pick up a Pexfil. Pexfil's down, but everyone on their team is very low. That's Thanatos ult, that's on her ult. Just Be Better falls, but Chief manages to pick up one. Jaybird manages to pick up one. Chief manages to pick up a triple kill. And Guile Smitey's running for his life. This might be a quadra. That's too easy to wait out. That's too easy to wait out. That's the unofficial quadra for Chief. I'm going to go ahead and credit him. That was 4 kills. That counts as a quadra just because he had to wait a second for that Aegis to go off. Doesn't mean it doesn't count. But yeah, honestly, really, really, really loving the way Tribal has been taking these team fights. Apex still baiting himself, doing enough damage that even though he dies, his entire team just follows up and just says, "Okay, we lost one, you lose five,"
Yeah,
and
and that
there's
all
that fire
started from
method.
I would say, a poor Fire Giant choice because the option wasn't available there.
And now, however, for the not for split push, I'm sorry, for Tribal Gaming, the option is there, and Jaybird gets knocked up, but no problem. They've got a crit hunter and a Thanatos here, burning this fire giant. And at 25 minutes, Tribal Game is going to get the first fire giant of the game. And also, I love the fact that a Pexel just respawned, so it's going to be on all 5 members.
Yep, making sure it was on all 5 members. That's a huge win. Not really an Oni Fury plan. Next one will just be a regular Gold Fury, so I think it's
Are
just
you
push down these
surprised to
lanes.
see two Toxic Blades coming out here? I am really surprised to see the Toxic Blade from the Bologna. I'm not gonna lie. I really do think that there are a lot of defensive options. She's been getting blown up. She's been alting out defensively. She's been not allowed to impact the game in a tanky way. I really don't like this Toxic Blade pickup. I think on the Ao Kuang it's fine. I think a Divine in the mid lane should already be finished. I think the Pestilence is, double Pesty is fine. It is what it is. Brawlers is on this Uller. Do you think that the Toxic Blade on the Bologna is worth it?
100% not. I don't know who Bologna is sticking to with auto attack at this stage of the game. As we
I
do
don't
see,
think she's
still
sticking to
manages to pick up
anyone.
Jaybird, but will fall. But
But
I think that's
unfortunately, he's
100%
going
worth it.
to. See, I disagree there. 11 of the 14 kills have been Lucille. However, Jaybird has the rest of his team backing him up. Chief is huge in this Naja, Soul's doing a ton of damage, and that trade means that you can't take any kill now because all of your damage was coming out from Lucille. All the burst, all of the kill chance was coming out from Lucille getting those picks on the backline. So I think that this tribal side can continue to siege here.
Uh, I agree that with you in part, but part of it is you take out one of the hunters that are going to be doing a lot of damage to Phoenix. You've still got an outpush to sort of zone them out to get them past the area of control. So I still think you have enough to sort of defend with. Just getting one of those after stops possibly the Phoenix. I think the T2's probably down at that stage anyway.
That's true, and probably even with the crit build from the other hunter, he's still going to be doing a good amount of damage between his, his one, his passive with the penetration, all that good stuff. Um, it took a lot longer, and this has been a lot more of a competitive game. It's only 15 to 19 right now. It seems a lot of control from this tribal game side, but they made the adjustment this last team fight. They baited Lucille in. He got a kill even, but then they just killed him, and then they were able to take what they wanted to take after that. So I'm looking. They'll probably try to do the same thing next
I
team
was going
fight.
to say, I don't think they took what they want because I don't think they got Phoenix out of it. I think that was probably the call. Maybe not the T2 in the left lane, probably get the Phoenix in mid and then back off and get the T2.
That's fair. That's really fair. They won the fight. I'll put it that way. I don't think they lost the fight. They got objectives. They were able to push. However, you have a really great point when you point out that no Phoenixes fell even into a Soul Fafnir with Fire Giant. So
Yeah, and you've taken the Fire Giant off Jaybird. I don't think they've probably got enough to defend this Phoenix who's unless Outpush sort of rotates over with
it
heavy
depends
scripts.
on the ults here. That's gonna be
Uh,
Shell coming out. Naja has someone up in the air, but unfortunately took the Jaybird out of the
Lucille
entire
picks up
ult.
the dual
However,
discharge.
dual discharge falls. Lucille's been huge. That's the anti-heal. Goes into the ult, and the defense has been perfect. And honestly, we kind of shit talked the plush pick a little bit. It's the only reason they're still in the. Those ults have been magnificent in taking out these tanks.
Yeah, because they sort of waited for the Fafnir to actually jump in, empty the crypt so the team could not really follow up, and just Lucille burning down the Fafnir. Gold Fury will fall to Tribal at this stage. It's just a regular Gold Furies, and I think pretty much they're all should be near full build.
So we do have a 22,000 experience difference. We do have a 17,000 gold difference. But as we continue to get later and later and later in this game, it's going to start mattering less and less and less. Um, really good defense from Splitpush here. They're stepped up from last game.
I think
They
this is
honestly
now
really
going to
did.
be the biggest issue now. Enhanced Fire Giant probably about to spawn.
And I really don't like the fact that they're all split up. Why is your solo laner in left lane solo clearing a wave? I don't like the
Uh,
fact that they're split up. Actually, that solo laner was pinged out. You know, everyone on Tribal knows that Bellona's in left.
so yeah, I don't think you give up an Enhanced Fire Giant here.
And maybe the call is to just not contest, but no, they're starting to walk over, but Ullr's walking in front of everyone else. It almost kind of looks like the call is to just not contest.
I was going to say, if you need to contest
Dan
one,
and
Loner
Lucille kind of
should be here to
go.
teleport in, but I think it's going to be too late if that teleport does
It's
come out.
going to be too late at this point, and they'll make a token effort to try to steal here. Lucille's probably going to blink behind, and just the pressure is enough to force it out. So Tribal do fall off. That's a successful defense. Bellona nowhere near the team fight, however, still farming up.
But if
Only
Bellona shows up in
level
that mid
18.
lane, expect this Fire Giant to be pulled immediately.
I don't think she did. I think the minions were fully aggroed on everything else, but still no Bellona. Jaybird rotating behind. He's got a ward behind, and he's doing a good amount of damage to Lucille. That was a big crit. That was a meaty crit. Naja on the backline.
Taking someone up, but I don't think there's any follow-up here.
I really don't think so either, and that's a big team fight. Ultimate expended. Pextel's very low. That's going to be Soul Ultimate force out as well.
In the air.
And Yuki is not taking any damage. Santa in the air goes on the back line. That's going to be the Crypt's emptied. Merc and Zombie, however, seems to be the squishiest target on this entire team. Merc and Zombie makes it out alive, however. And the fact that he's the squishy target over the mages is just not great right now. I think he really needs to get more protections and more health online as quick as he possibly can. This Toxic Blade, I really feel, is not the call from him. That should be a free Fire Giant if they opt to go for it, but it looks like instead they're going to go ahead and back. There's no ward coverage at all from anyone on the Splitpush side, but just even the threat forces Tribal back to base.
I'd love to see Dirtnap Dam walk towards Fire Giant and not place a sentry ward and de-ward it.
You did. You also saw him have 2 wards in his inventory when he walked out there, walk over 2 wards, and then not a ward.
Yeah.
So I think, again, it's just a little bit of they're new to competitive, honestly. It's a bunch of good guys who play Smite together,
Salt
and
could
they're
be a
kind
little
of
bit
learning this stuff in competitive.
Okay.
Bellona is still kind of bot farming on the other side of the map, picking up a purple. I don't think that's worth, because Fire Giant's being pulled right now, and no one has a clue.
I was going to say, Soul literally pointed 2 out on the left side of the map, so I would imagine this could be free, but
Naja's here.
The ring toss not really able to do a lot.
He's got to get in there. He's got to get in there.
Takes someone up
And
to
not
the
enough.
sky.
He brings Jaybird in the sky. I'm looking for the Crypts. There's the Crypts. Jaybird taking no damage because Aegis is the thing. They managed to get the enhanced Fire Giant and to get out, and that is a huge win.
Lucille picks up
Big
Chief in the
misplay,
back.
however. Chief out of position, and this Ao Kuang has been absolutely fragging.
Yep. Amazing pickup. Just, I think the build and the lifesteal just allows Alcon to pretty much 1v1 anyone at this stage.
What do you think this last item is going to be for Bellona? Do you think that's going to be a Frostbound Hammer, maybe a Black?
I would. Well, it's going into a black one, but I was going to say.
Well, now it's going into Blackthorn, yeah.
I would have loved to see it be a Frostbound Hammer just to slow targets down and allow our push, or even this Ao Kuang to apply a lot more damage and stop the getaways happening so easily. But I guess Blackthorn's full
Less
health
than a
isn't
minute on
bad.
this. No, and it does give cooldown as well. Less than a minute on this Oni spawn, so looks like that's going to be the next thing that Tribal Gaming's looking at. And Splitpush is starting to pull this game back in the kill department. However, the objectives, they're just starting to lose a little bit more and a little bit more, and a tier 1 will fall in right. But it looks like they're not even going to contest this Oni Freak, content just to kind of defend. That's been their shtick this game, and it's worked for them. 22,000 player damage. This Opwash top of the board, and you know, I think we kind of do have to eat our words. That's the pick that's been working the best. But on the other side, Bellona only has 300 more player damage than this Fafnir, and that's something that's really starting to hurt Splitpush right now. his build is not tanky enough to not be doing damage, and the damage that he has, he should be doing a little bit more. He should be a little bit more relevant in these team fights. So I think it'll be really, really important to see how they group up and how they do.
I was also going to point out Fafnir picking up the Emperor's armor, so with the enhanced fire
Are
giant,
you
this is
surprised not to see a Shoguns yet? I personally am really surprised not to see a Shoguns yet.
uh, yeah, but I think everyone's 6 items with boots sold, so I don't expect Shogun to be picked up here at all.
Well, I think Fafnir still has his cooldown boot, so I would love for him to pick up a Shogun's last item. But yeah, the Split Push squad is very content to say, you know, we've got an Opwash. Come siege us. Have fun. Good luck.
I was going to say, Soul's probably overcapping with double rings and her passive, so don't think it's only going to really provide Anher a lot, but even then I think he's got enough attack speed to sort of sustain through this, but I think that's going to be only way pushing into the middle Phoenix if I'm not mistaken.
It is, and I'm surprised to see there's Lucille going to deal with it. And the second he goes, it looks like Apexful will go in, but the rest of his team not going out. Merc and Zombie, that's a huge Fear No Evil. However, pushed right back out and takes a ton of damage. And even through the shell, just gets absolutely deleted. That's 2 huge picks.
Yep,
That is 2 huge picks.
I was going to say with Enhanced Fire Giant, I think they're just going to wait to heal this back up and then push back in.
And as well, Guile Smitey's Empty the Crypts is down. So you've got a Naja ult. Luckily, Uller ult is still back up, though, I will say. But Fafnir jumps in and ults, and he is just going to say, you know what? We're going to go
up to the sky just before.
But he is
dies.
dead on arrival when he lands down. Less than 100 health left. And this might be the game, honestly.
Yeah.
Guile Smitey falls. Dirtnap Dan looks like he's probably going to either fall or definitely not have enough damage coming out from an Uller to stop this. So a lot better of a game here, honestly. A lot better of a game here from Split Push, but they can't quite find the last piece of the puzzle to fit. And I think give them a couple more weeks. And honestly, this side looked really good with that draft. But unfortunately, the crit and the soul passive with this Fafnir just too strong. And end up pulling out the win here. That's going to be Tribal Gaming taking our first set of the night.
Yeah, and again, really impressive from Split Push, presuming it was pretty much a stomp in game one. They really did pull it back in a 36-minute game after that is really impressive, and they actually held their own
It
in a
really
lot
is.
of the
It's
team
like
fights.
that's almost literally. I think that's literally double, isn't it? That's a little bit over double the time. And
Pretty much, yeah.
I also want to throw this out there. Guile Smitey had the highest player damage in the game. Absolutely did a great job on this Opwash play. Just unfortunate that they couldn't quite find the pieces to pull it out. Lucille looked phenomenal on the Aokwang. Yuki looked really great on the Naja. I think Dirtnop Dan and Merc and Zombie, they have the potential there. It's just figuring out how to piece it together with the rest of their team. And as they continue playing this competitive smite together, as they continue working and growing together, I think they'll start to put those pieces together.
Yeah, I will say I did love Dirtnut Dam on the alert and how aggressive he was, but I think the slight issue there is I think he was using too many abilities to try and lock down this Anhur and then kept running out of mana for when the
And
Thanatos
honestly,
ganks had came.
yeah, that's true. And it is I would I wouldn't say that I completely disagree with you, but I think the larger factor was he wasn't able to translate the aggressiveness to late game. When it got to late game, the crits coming through from Jaybird, the huge ultimates, the combo ultimate with any kind of lockdown, the on her and the soul ultimates were just so devastating to the split push team. I just think it did a little bit more.
Uh, yeah, 100% agree, but at the same time, just I think Tribal were a well sort of oiled machine and just knew exactly what they were
Yeah,
doing,
for
exactly
sure.
where they were pushing. I think that just comes down to the experience of Tribal.
Yeah, and they were in the whole split last split around in the stream split, so they've definitely played a little bit more together. They that Odin pick, the Chronos, really really spicy. So great job from both teams coming out here. Honestly, that was a really fun set to watch.
Yeah, 100%. How did you guys feel like it went in the chat? We're probably going to throw it over to break and see if we can get Battlegrounds of the Gods the match IDs from that game and start live casting it. So we'll be back in a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, Glacier here, back to bring you the second set of the evening for the Zillion Classic League here, with Sir Waffles. And we were actually we attempted to find a special guest for you. Um, Unfortunately, we were unlucky and we only found Majin Busha instead. But I guess we'll have to deal with it now that we've got him. He won't let us get rid of him, so I guess we're gonna be joined on this cast. Majin, it all bullshit aside, it is really good to see you, man. How have you been doing today?
Well, I guess it's rather unfortunate. My presence is here, so I hate to, spawn myself to you guys, but I am fantastic. How's everybody else doing?
Yeah, pretty good. So,
Yeah, pretty good. We watched some pretty good Smite. First game, I know you weren't here for. It was like a 17-minute Jaybird show. Second game was a really good game, 36 minutes. I mean, kind of back and forth, really good Smite. So, really excited to see how this second set goes.
Absolutely. What I got to see from game two when I got home was Phoenix Sieges with the opwash. That's pretty much what I got to see
Yeah,
for today.
yeah. I mean, that was pretty much the story of the game. The Opwash, we kind of ragged on it a little bit, picking an Opwash into a Thanatos, into a composition with so much lockdown. Sobek locks you down, Fafnir locks you down, Thana locks you down, On Her and Soul just gonna eat you alive. But he positioned so well that second game. It was a really great smite. We are, however, looking to transition this second set. It's gonna be Battleground of the Gods, Girthworms, and they're gonna be going up against Exilium Soul, which is one of the new teams that is just kind of started playing in the league recently, and if I'm not mistaken, that's a couple of the kids from the like a good amount of the younger kids from the Exilium community. Isn't that right, Majin? Or
Yes, absolutely. For example, I'm pretty sure that Grump is one of the sons of Camberlin, and I know Samantha is the little sister of Seven. The rest
okay,
I
cool.
don't know for a certain fact, but I do know those two.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to watch. Bot G has been a staple around here for a while. The girthy girthworms. But it's fun watching the different styles of Smite that come out from different people. So we're looking forward to it. Unless anyone else has anything else to say, I think we can pretty much just go ahead and load on into the game.
yeah,
Uh,
loaded
I'm
up.
ready to go.
All right, let's go ahead and head on in. Drafts and bans, and we will go ahead and get started. Majin, take it away.
It looks like this game, Exilium Soul, gonna actually be on the left side. So if we can fix that on the screen, their waffles, that'd be fantastic. And
Appreciate it.
on the right side will be BOTG Growthworms. Gonna have a King Arthur band, followed by the Exilium Soul, followed by the Merlin.
Pretty standard bands for the first round.
And then, of
Yeah, pretty
course,
much
You
two gods you
sh-
don't want to.
I was gonna say, you sure it's King Arthur? I'm showing Nausea. I got the wrong matchup.
I am showing Nasha as well.
oh wow, interesting. I mean, now it shows me Naja. What the hell happened here? For me, it
Thank
went
you, spectator.
for me, it went from Arthur to Merlin to Naja to Bakasura. So I don't know what happened here, but Smite, can we go ahead and go to Unreal Engine 4 and fix this crap?
Yeah. Just blame Jethans, everyone. Can I get some hashtag blame Jethans, please? Anyone's in chat?
Don't blame Jiffins. The actual new picks and bands that you can see on the screen is really sexy. I can animate it, but it's a bit janky.
I really like the coloring that he chose to as well. The red versus blue, the classic of all time. But we're gonna see a Bologna first picked in the solo lane here, likely to go for Knowles. So with Jormungandr on the table, do you think they're looking at that? And well, they do get to pick two
Give
characters
Gekkonid or
here.
Jingwei and he's gonna take it. But yeah, I would not be surprised to see Hihe loves to play his Jormungandr. He loves to position very aggressively. And the Jormungandr ult gives him pretty much if he ever finds himself, overextended or if he stays a little bit past his team, there it is. He's going to hover, probably lock pretty soon here. But that ult allows him to get in and out of team fights so effectively. And I don't know if it's his favorite god, but I would definitely say the best I've seen him play has been on this Jormungandr. So that's a scary pickup for the side of Soul.
So they do have the Ormagunner with the Jingwei, and then also in a response we have the Hachiman that's going to likely go to Samantha in the Hunter role for Exilium Soul. And still thinking about the next pick here.
Would you be thinking about on the Wheelix for going with Battleground of the Earthworms?
At this point, I mean, you already have two knockups. Why not? That might be something you could pick up later, though. But if they want to pick it up now and show early game pressure, then I'm absolutely for that.
Yeah, I think a good pressure support would be probably a strongish pick here. I'm really not sure because there's a lot of different options you can go with.
Looks like Devil Dog Nick's going to be picking up the Raw here for himself in the mid lane. You know, I've seen him on the Vulcan. I've seen him on I can't remember what other god at the moment, but I've never actually seen him on Raw, so I'm interested to see how this goes for him.
And there is the Wheelix pick.
Well, you called it.
Well, I guess Waffles is like Waffle Supreme today. I don't know. Just making stuff up as I go.
I know it's Rick's favorite god to pretty much play in that jungle role, and already having two knockups, it should have been expected to come.
And I know Glacier's already thanked in chat, but I also want to verbally say thank you to TIH Vengeance for the host of Waffles channel for this wonderful Classic League match.
Yeah, thanks for the host. I am dealing with the picks and ban screens, so I am not looking at chat at this precise moment.
Oh, we're streamer NA. No interaction with chat. Boo! Everyone go on.
Yeah, fine. I can
Honestly,
rush
thank
stream
you
at
so
NA.
much. I love the amount of work that you guys put into the software that we've got that we can show the picks and bands how they are. Speaking of showing the picks and bands, it's going to be an RDO band out, which I love. Awilish, Jingwei both really struggling to RDO. And then the response band is going to be a Raijin looking to take away some pressure from the mid lane. But I'm a bit just surprised to see that they're not looking a little bit more towards the Agni that Nevea likes to play so much, or possibly the Vulcan or the Habwa, you know, or possibly even a Poseidon with the knockup from the Kraken and the title surge.
Absolutely, we're going to see a Terra band to follow suit as well as a Fafnir band. Interesting to see the Fafnir band. Not sure if that's something that was going to be picked up necessarily. And Willix does have a kind of a higher attack speed base of the Assassins.
Yeah, still waiting for those to come through on my screen. Just 'cause I don't know whose side bans what, but
And I think for Awilish as well, it's not about the attack speed as much as it is about the amount of power she brings with her passive, that 35, and then her ultimate on top of it. You know, you get to late game and you can pretty much just walk at any tier 2 tower and just pop your ult and just kill it before it kills you with the amount of stupid power you have. So honestly, I don't hate the Fafnir. I think Erlong may have been a pretty good ban there if Erlong solo is a thing that Ace likes to run. I think, but I mean, I haven't really seen him on anything like that. Maybe Sylvanas is a ban worth looking at. But yeah, the Vulcan gonna be instantly locked in, and I'm kind of surprised that wasn't banned.
more knockups for that Wheelix. That's all you need to pick.
I think that they didn't. I think that they weren't seeing this coming necessarily. The Vulcan or the Hebo would have been a great ban in that second phase to just eliminate more knockups. But fortunately, letting the Vulcan through. But they're going to go ahead and look at this dodgy potentially as they're hovering.
And taking away the Sylvanas, I love that. Unfortunately, you left Geb open. Any bets on if there's a Geb support in the works here?
I would 100% expect a Geb to come out here. Just all
If
in
not
on
a
that
Geb, at least the
Wheelix.
Ganesha. Yeah, just say, hey, Oilish. Oh, Bacchus, that works too. That's a good amount of knockup.
Oh, well then. I was not expecting the Bacchus pickup, to be honest with you. I was thinking, okay, we've got a knockup from Yorm, and also with two forms of knockups, the ultimate and the stealth, and then the Jingwei knockup, and then Oilix also has the Summon Suku. I think it's the Summon Suku. There's a chart. Either way, you get the point. She has one. The Vulcan having one, but then overdoing it and just saying, you know what, let's go full out into knockup. I wonder if
You
they
know what?
call this pregnant.
I don't even. Okay. Majin, do we have to let him cast with us, Waffles?
These are the top quality calls you get from Majin.
Oh goodness gracious.
This is what happens to you after a 13-hour workday, and you have to be there an hour before because your stepson works, an hour before, 3 minutes down the road, 25 minutes away. So you get
Blessings.
prime time Busha right here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Honestly though, I really will say, you said they kind of overdoing it a little bit. I don't agree. I love the Bacchus pick. I think it's aggressive. I think it plays really well into Sylvanas. I think it plays really well into Hachiman. Um, and I honestly love the pressure coming out to pair with this Jingwei a little bit more than even a Geb, honestly. In this matchup, I don't see a Geb being necessary for any crazy CC outside of the Daji ult. And I think the game plan right now is just run it down and and end the game before Daji becomes a factor.
The only thing I'm worried about though is where's the CC immune ult for Vulcan or Wheelix? It just doesn't exist, right? If they get pulled in, they're pulled in. If they're beat, that's kind of an unfortunate thing where the Geb could have been good there for one of those two, but also you're mentioning the Bacchus being good in the Sylvanas. That's absolutely true, especially you have the Raw that has a heal that'll be online by level 12 or 13, the Lona Scourge getting maxed by level 12 or 13. So the anti-heal that he can provide with the Belch of the Gods could really be useful.
Yeah, I'm excited. If anyone else has any, like analysis stuff that they want to go over, feel free. Otherwise, I kind of want to get into this game, see how it goes.
Oh, I'm ready to go, man. Are you ready to go, Waffles?
Yep, we'll throw it to a break and get set up for the game. So see you guys in a bit.
Hey, everybody. Just a quick little break there, right? But, things happen. Have to have the spectator go in, fix the screens and everything, make everything look beautiful for you. And, this is what we come out with.
You look beautiful, Majin.
Wait, you can see me?
Oh, crap. No. What? What? I mean, what?
I love Silent Aces coming in.
You know what I can see? Silent Aces invading. That's what I can.
You know what I can see? I see dead people.
I do think you need an app.
No, I just got
Majin just taking this seriously. Not Majin. Not Majin. Not Majin.
But we got the Silences here, like you said. Gonna start the invade here. Devil Dog already using 2 of his solar beams, celestial beam rather, and is it invade successful? No, Nat's gonna confirm that. But Nick is already
But
down.
look at the health from people. Yeah, they don't. Aces doesn't care. That's his advantage. He's got Nat delayed by a full camp. Look at the Swedish already on the blue camp, and Nat is still not even started her backs.
Surprised Nev didn't invade the red buff, presuming they were still messing around with the speed camp.
Yes, it really depends on what she opted to take. Some of my Falcons start to backfire, some start the Inferno Cannon. And after the first wave, as long as you get that, the entire speed buff, you will hit 2. So you could actually have both, but sometimes maybe you just don't want to invade straight away.
I actually love this. She sets down the turret to get her to get herself the credit for the wave, and then goes ahead and, you know what? He said I won't invade. Watch this.
Raw confirming the red buff.
It's like they
Oh.
heard the cast or something like before we saw it.
That's crazy.
That's crazy things.
Daji taking a lot of level 2 damage, however, from this Oilish.
Yes, but look at Big Rick's mana pool. Like it's very low, and then not basically has a full health, has a full mana bar, even though he doesn't have the health. But gonna be a Beast Force out on the Devil Dog Nick in the middle lane. But net might fall here. It does. The first blood to Silent Ace is 40.
Yeah, who needs mana? You can pick up a kill on the enemy jungler. I'm surprised how well Gokane is doing in this 2v1 lane.
I'm not. Have you seen him play Jingwei before?
Well, when I looked over it a little bit earlier, his health bar was kind of scary. It is now. It's still kind of scary, but he's halfway. He does have. He actually doesn't. He just has a health pot remaining. So, but it's Jingwei, right? She can just get back to the lane pretty safe.
And Gekinator also loves to rush the boots, so not only will he have his passive, but he'll have full boots probably by the time he back off when he'd like to.
He does get pulled by the Sylvanas here. Hatchman can't really connect those autos or the Heavenly Banner.
That's unfortunate, as Devil Dog Nick is really, really low. About 200 or less HP, and the mana bar department probably about 100. But no invade this time with the speed buff. Nat gonna make sure that it's secured without any of the threat.
The blue buff, however, might have a bit of an issue as Ross just
Sunnis is here.
Yeah,
And Glona will back and try to teleport back in time to be able to contest this. However, Rick is coming as well. Nat needs to be very careful. She's very alone.
unfortunately does fall, and before that, Vulcan able to use the Earthshaker to pick up the kill onto the middle lane Raw.
That's a big kill in the mid lane as well, putting that Ra behind, and Vulcan, I believe, should hit 5 off his P camp, or at least the next mid wave, but electing to back here.
Yeah, we'll see. Right now, the most golden hand at this point in time would be Bacchus at 1600 nearly, so he could actually get his boots done, and as well as buy some wards and pots if he chose to.
You know, I would love to see him build first with how aggressive
Saw
he's
Reaper?
being. They're up. You know what? I was actually gonna say Poly, but you know, if he builds a Stone of Binding here, I think that would be awesome, because that would just, the team is gonna be doing true damage right now this early between the different passes that they have and between that Stone of Binding. If he's able to get that, he opts for the Pen Boots as well, so he's fully committing. You know, he's a damage Bacchus.
Absolutely, and speaking of pin boots, also in the Jormungandr, but that's kind of staple at this point. We've seen a lot of flexible builds for Jormungandr, but always seeing those use the Magi being focused on that character. Jingwei returns to the lane. Is that a warrior tabi instead of ninja? Yes, it is. Very interesting.
And we've actually been seeing a lot more of that recently. I've been doing to rush into boots, and most of them are actually starting to go for the warrior tabi, and then they, rather than going into the crit build, most of them are going the power pen, and that gives you enough attack speed that you don't have to start the attack speed boots.
However, we got a rotation coming on the right-hand side of the map, looking for that blue buff, but also Knowles is out of mana. Not sure if he's going to have enough to be able to ult if they do decide to go in, but Nat's right here. It's only level 4, though, so can't pull anybody in the tower.
And they're just showing enough to make sure that there's no way that the blue is even contested.
Yeah, that's it. They're just showing up in lane saying, hey guys, look at us. We're dangling a piece of meat in your face. And, oh yeah, by the way, Big Rick's is going to take your blue.
I was going to say, I think the Silent Ace should just take that blue buff.
Well,
Yep.
Bacchus is a very mana-intensive god, so might as well.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I love that. Whenever
Nice
he's able
Ryle
to start,
snipe on a Devea, but there's not really any kill potential there. Unfortunately, as the team was done. But Earthshaker over the top going to take half of the health bar in return.
And that would be a red buff invade coming out of Big Rick here. I believe just Elysium Silver are electing to stay under tower, which I don't think is, which isn't a bad call at this stage, but a 3-on-1 on Silent Aces, can they pick up anything? No, in fact, he pretty much
Bacchus
gets
ultimate
the Archie
almost killed not that there, but gets away. But
pen
Grump
moves
is in a
are
lot of
huge.
trouble getting caught out. Meatball just off the mark as Grump didn't continue walking forward, so probably saved himself a little bit of time.
That was a great play by Grump to get out there in one piece. So far, the game plan from the Girthrons, just pressure, 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 run them down, has been working phenomenally. Because, you know, Gekinator's 2 levels up on his lane opponent because Sylvanas has been there the entire time and he's just kind of farming out to a stalemate. That's what he wants to do.
as
Everywhere
Bacchus
else is
dives
just
the Ra under
hard
the
pressure.
T1. And I think Rick's probably going to look for the cleanup from behind the T1.
He is here, just throughout Suku, just off the mark though. So right now, 3 kills in favor of BOTG, but that's going in. Teleports in with the 3, goes up into the sky to avoid the Bacchus belly flop, and pulls him right in. But there's no follow up. He's just gonna walk away.
I can't believe Bacchus
Oh.
got away with that. So Ra's like going on to the
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oof. And Devil Like Nick used the one before the what is it, Celestial Beam or Solar Beam or what is it called? I always
Celestial
mix
Beam.
it up.
Celestial.
Yeah, he used that right before the pull actually went off, so it was still on cooldown probably for another 4 or 5 seconds when the pull actually happened. I think that's just a little bit of a communication issue there.
I wonder if he's also trying to hold on to the ult, not knowing if the. I mean, the Bacchus does have horrific, doesn't have any CC immunity in his kit. However, looking at an invade here, Aces and Nevea. Red buff does spawn. Celestial Beam comes out. Solar Blessing
And
comes
Knowles
out.
gets pulled on solo lane, has to Eagles Rally out on 2.
That is a big
And
hit.
Nod gets cleaned up by the Earthshaker.
Sylvanas probably in trouble here if Bacchus has a flop in time, but I think they'll make it to the safety of their T1 tower, but the red buff was confirmed by the Bacchus with the ult.
Grump is getting so lucky. That's the second time that he's able just to walk away from danger. But, you know, I got a question for you guys. If a Grover falls in the forest, does it make a sound?
Depends if there's anyone around to hear it, and I imagine his teammates will definitely hear it on the mic.
Well, he's
Ace
fortunate.
is going aggressive again. And Grump is fortunate again so far. Rick doesn't quite get the Suku to hit.
And I love the tank boots coming out, those reinforced. He's just. I think that's why he's been able to just stay alive.
There is a 3-level difference in this duo ADC lane, which I've not come to yet because they've just been farming. But that is a huge amount as Gokinator looks to burst down this T1 tower.
I think the biggest difference is Sylvanas was in that lane for until Samantha hit 5.
Yeah.
And the entire time, Gokinator's just there by himself. They didn't get a successful invade as Hey finds Nat over in the solo lane.
And
Unfortunately,
you know what else is crazy about the long lane right now? Gokinator rushed boots, then built to Devos. Hachiman rushed Devourer's Gauntlet. He's behind over 20 stacks on that Devourer's Gauntlet that he rushed.
very interesting that you pointed that out, but I'm not sure if she's not able to just get past it. So Silent Ace is going to find another kill, going to find Knowles in the solo lane between the tier 1 and tier 2 tower, along with Hiei and Big Rick.
And I think Darji's in trouble here.
Looks to be so. It's going to be the feather step over the top and an auto attack to finish. Unfortunate showing for Nat right here.
And then the Ra's in trouble here as well. Big Girth wormhole.
I feel like at this point in the game, everyone's in trouble. You
Uh,
have a girth form. It is on you.
Oh, the knock
That's
up
the
into the
combo.
gravity surge. That is so hot. And even a red buff for the trouble.
And that's honestly exactly what we came to see when we saw this draft come out. They've been playing it to perfection. Pressure, 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 knock up into ult, and it's happened several times now.
And so this is trying to run in a circle with Grump and Samantha. Gonna find Samantha through an auto attack. Belt to the Gods is gonna be off the mark for the stun, fortunately.
That is a lot
Heavily
of
been over the
damage.
top. That's a lot of damage coming out of the almost a Vulcan.
Pretty much done the same amount of damage at this stage.
That's why I was so shocked. It's like, oh my god, the damage that came out. Was it Vulcan? No, it was just a simple Bacchus. A tank
But the
Bacchus.
Bacchus is 2-0-2 with pen boots, I will say.
Do you want to change that statement to Frio?
There it is,
Sure.
folks.
Only because I see it happening. That's the only reason.
Nathan's really playing well on this Bacchus right now.
Absolutely. And this was the last pick Bacchus as well to finish out this knock-up team comp for BOTG, and they've used it very well so far.
I completely agree. There's only one character it doesn't really impact the anti-heal, and that's the Dodge being able to go up into the ult. However, the Dodge has been killed more than anyone else. Opting to use the teleport a lot of time to get to farm, and then just being camped when she gets there has no escape, and that's going to be the Gold Fury already going down. BOTG Earthworm's now 10k ahead at 12 minutes.
I was gonna say that's not really a safe T1 tower. One auto from anything will hit this. Will kill it at this
And
stage.
if you look at the map, there was no blue ward on that Gold Fury. There's one between the path to red buff and the path towards the purple, a little bit higher than that, but in that general area, but nothing around the Gold Fury itself. So
I was gonna say, in Soul's defense, I don't think they've been able to get past the T1 tower to even put any wards higher than that.
I do just want to point out real quick, Devil Dog Nick did have to beads the Sugu throw from Awilish, so his beads are going to be done another minute 30 here.
So, well, CA picks up a kill. I was about to ask a question. Jade's Emperor crown coming out from him. We haven't seen Jade's Emperor since, I believe, Season 4 at this point. Why are we seeing it in this case?
Against the Bologna, just reducing her power, reducing her clear is a bit. It is a good pickup, but not entirely
Oh my
sure.
god, that was filthy.
I was about to say,
Pre-fired Vulcan ult, knock up. Big Rick pulls back into where the Vulcan ult is gonna hit. Good, that was sexy right there. Someone please clip that for these BOTG guys.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know if the SPL players were gonna like draw that one. I know it's the composition that allows us to do it, but it was just wow, just the synergy
they
you have
will
to
fire
have to
here?
do that.
I think it's slightly
I
too
think
early.
I just think it's too early to do the fire. You do have 15 pin coming out, or 25 pin coming out. Yorm, the same amount, about maybe 30 coming out from the Willix, but no penetration from Vulcan and no penetration from Jing Wei, so I don't think they can quite commit to it right now.
Yeah,
It is a
Jingwei's
little
just farming on
surprising.
the left side of the map though, so maybe if Jingwei was
Yeah,
there in
for
the team
sure.
fight, possibly you look at it, but
Are you guys surprised at all to see the Vulcan not opt into any penetration, or do you think that's just because it's so ahead, there's not really any meaningful defense outside of this Oni Hunter's garb?
As we see, I thought it was a pull on the Goku. He actually ults to avoid the pull and does find I was going to say double kill, but Silent Ace is getting this kill secure with that ultimate one more time.
are we calling it kill secure there?
It is definitely a kill secure, my friend. You don't play tanks. You're a squishy. I mean, you wouldn't know. It's definitely a secure, not a steal.
Oh goodness, as we troll waffles about that. Wheelix is going to buy another kill, so 4-0-5 for Big Rick. And what's been the difference in the two junglers this game? Is it positioning? Is it warding? What's the difference, you think?
Presence.
Presence and setup really. Just a Wheelix pretty much can ult on cooldown without having to set up herself. Adaji can use an ult, but that's been mainly used as a defensive mechanism to try and get out of fights, and even then it's not enough.
And honestly, when the dodgy ult went off well, setting up the Raw didn't take the setup. So it's just been a little bit rough. Dodgy not able to get anything going here. Hasn't died again in a while, but still 5 levels down to this Awilish who's been involved in 9 of the 15 kills.
Yeah, that's a very high number. Around 65, 70% or so. But the same can be said almost for Hiei as well, and he has found 3 kills in the solo lane, but I'm just not sure if the optimization was going to be good enough for Bologna with that Jade, so I don't know if you can really counteract.
He'll have to be used defensive and gets knocked up, pulled by the Awilix. Back assault coming out, and that's one dead Bologna in the solo lane.
That's gotta be demoralizing. You know, you're out.
I think we should cut out there for a second, but
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I don't know if the horrific was necessary, but I guess it did help them secure the kill in the solo lane. As the Fire Giant being started up here by BOTG.
With a Frenzy popped as well from Silent Aces.
Yeah. It's not upgraded, but still enough to destroy Fire Giant this early on.
I say this early, it's still doing a good amount. And I think honestly the grouping and the game plan from BOTG is paying off perfectly here. 16 kills in 17 minutes. Fire Giant, Gold, everything's been clean so far. Do you think they just start to shove objectives, or do you think they go for this Oni, regroup, and then go?
I would like to see the Oni first, so that you have to force somebody to a lane. Like right now, that duocide, what used to be known as duo lane at least. Actually, hold that thought. Knock up on the Devil Nick here, and
Was used
no,
well. Let's get out.
no ultimate for Silent Aces because he kill secured a little bit earlier, so still not off cooldown. But the Jormungandr will Serpent coming in, jumping right after not the second part of it, picks up the kill as he leaps in for Devil Dog Nick.
Where did Samantha's health go? Did you see her ult in and then just all of a sudden she 100 health?
Yeah, unfortunate for her, but the health bar I'm concerned about right now is the Rob, but he does get out. Vulcan ultimate over the top does hit nulls, but no penetration is what caused him not to get the kill there. But the Wake knock up into the gravity surge onto the Grumpalumpagus.
Oh my
Is this gonna be game?
goodness. Honestly, it may well be now. He is very 4 stacks on his Urchins. He's got Void. You know, I think maybe the Void Shield is the reason that this Vulcan doesn't have to quite build pen yet. That's going to be another kill. It's going to be 20-0, and they're looking at the Titan. This might very well be game.
Basically, only Samantha and Nat here, and Nat doesn't have a blink, does not have ult either, and that's unfortunately going to be a 21-0 game in favor of BOTG. You know, Soul couldn't quite get anything going there.
That was an insane game for BOTG though.
How do you even ban out against that? There wasn't one god on their team with a leap if you don't count Bologna ultimate. And it just doesn't matter. The amount of setup there was insane. I think, do you have to ban the Jormungandr? Is the Awilish the problem? Like, where do you even look to?
Honestly, I think the early game was ran by Bacchus and Awilix. If I'm looking to ban anything, probably the Bacchus, because it was very impactful early, and then the Bacchus play allowed the Awilix, I believe, to kind of pop off from there. But the Jormungandr was good. It was 6-0 and 7 in solo lane, but didn't really start rotating until about level 12 or so after he's already had 3 kills in the solo lane. So I would maybe
the damage on the Jorm there, 15,000 in an 18-minute game. That's a lot of damage coming out of one character.
As a solo laner, I can tell you that hashtag fake damage.
It's not fake damage if you get 6 kills out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, the issue with you know, him having that much damage isn't necessarily even the damage that it did. It's only 2 of those kills were on his lane opponent. Everything else was, you know, rotations, and they just snowballed off of it so much, off of him and Awilish and the Bacchus having an aggressive lead. And that start, I love that start, putting the jungler behind, getting your Awilish, getting your pressure jungler the pressure that they need. Just played to perfection.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you saw earlier today when my team played black, they saw an early pressure jungler and said, "Hey, let's have a 4-man invade." And if you send one person that can do kind of the same job, that's good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Just putting off the jungle timer and even making the mid late to lane them. I think the Ra ended up missing that first wave. It was pushed under the tower at least.
Yeah, I
I
don't remember. I think he got the first wave. I just think he lost his I think he got like half of the first wave. But I think he lost his red, and I think he lost a good portion of the next wave because of the rotation from the Bacchus.
Yeah, a lot of distractions going on there. The Bacchus just kind of made them think, what do I do? Do we try to kill him? Do we just clear the buff? Do we go to mid? Do I just go to mid lane? A lot of confusion because of that single man invade there. They weren't really sure what was going to happen. Luckily they were able to secure that first speed buff. No successful invade there, but the purple buff was the blue buff was stolen, and after the first wave or second wave, the red buff was stolen. So just not able to catch that normal farm the raw that game.
And that's actually kind of something else. I think you called it out with the distraction, not knowing exactly what to do. I think that used 2 or 3 abilities before they even looked for the speed buff. So mana was a huge issue in that early game as well against the Vulcan.
Yeah, you're right, because there was 2 social beams from Raw, and then I can never remember what Daji's 2 is called, but she was using that onto the Bacchus as well. And mana bars early in the game without any pots, it's really rough as a jungler or as a mid laner even.
I was gonna say it's not too bad on the jungler because you can just build up back from the assassin's blessing and the jungle camps that you can actually farm. But for the mid laner, yeah, just using more than 2 abilities before you even get into lane, it's gonna be really rough.
Absolutely. You guys got any closing thoughts for the game?
Not me personally. I think we do have the match IDs for game 2, so we're able to do that whenever we do.
Yeah,
Uh,
we can throw it to Breaker and get game 2 set up, and we'll see you guys in a bit.
Picks and bans for game 2 of Team Soul on the left-hand side versus BOTG Girthworms. Girthworms had a very solid draft last game. Do we think we see a run back of the same composition, Glacier or Waffles, or do we see something different?
I'm expecting something a little bit different. For two reasons. Number one, they know it works now, and so that they can kind of try something else that they've been working on. And number two, because yeah, there it is. That's the Jormungandr band that I was looking for. I really doubt that's gonna be able to get through.
Yeah, you were asking me at the end of the first game, is Yorm something you should ban out? And honestly, I do think so because it's from what I can tell, his most comfortable god. But also, what does that leave open? We have the King Arthur, that's also banned by Soul. The Merlin on the other side, and still thinking about the fourth ban. Before, actually, it's going to be a
Exactly, sure.
Bakasura.
And honestly, I think the biggest reason that the Arthur bin is not the Arthur, excuse me, the Jormungandr bin is so good. I said this in the first game. He loves, he as in Hihei, loves aggressive, 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 aggressive. He's always in your jungle. He's always in your face. He's always trying to be all over you. And a lot of times on a different god that can get him killed if you're able to turn and coordinate your team to turn on him. However, on the Jormungandr, if he ever gets caught out, he can just ult out for free. And so he's able to pressure without any fear of being punished for it because he's always got that ult as a get out of jail free card. So I really do love the ban there.
That does make him strong, and Vulcan going to be the first pick for Team Soul. Saw how Nevaeh played it and said, you know what, I think I can do a little bit better. Just going to go hands of Devil Dog Nick this time instead of the Raw.
Honestly, I think as well as just trying to say, you know what, I think I can do this better. I think a little bit of it is just taking that pick away from BOTG, making sure, I think there was a solo kill around 2 minutes in from Nevaeh on this Vulcan, and I don't think I've ever seen her play it before, but her ults were on point. Her positioning was phenomenal. Like, she did a really great job on it, so I like them picking it away.
Absolutely. The Hachiman going to be selected for Samantha one more time. Going to give it another shot. But
I'm
that
sorry, I
does
think it's
leave
actually
Folk with
Gakinator's Hachi.
Yeah, Gokune's got
I think
Hatch
that's
right.
Oh, I'm
Gokinator's
so
Hachi,
sorry. I am
which
trolling.
is a little scarier, honestly.
So taking away the Hachi, going to make her play something different. I'm not exactly sure the rest of her god pool. Going to pick up the Poseidon here to pair with the Hachiman for Girthworms. I don't know if I've seen her play Jing Wei, but she is open. But like I said earlier, I don't know the extent of her god pool, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're a lot more familiar with Baji's God Pool after, them being in the split all last split and everything. So it'll be really interesting to see kind of how the response comes out from this Exilium Soul team. Because after a game one like that, it's always really difficult to kind of just hard reset your team. Just, you know what, that game doesn't exist, we're gonna go in. But the Jabberwock hovered, and that's not as tough of a pick as it was while it's stunned, so they're kind of thinking about it a little bit more, but it looks like they'll go ahead and go with it. Do you like that?
It does bring late game to the composition as well as the Vulcan. So now I'm looking for more early pressure. And speaking of early pressure, Thanatos going to be locked in for Nat in the jungle. So you've got to, for this composition to work, you've got to get X-Ball and Vulcan to the late game, out to mid-late game stages. And once they come online, they can really dish out a lot of damage.
And yeah, going back to your point, trying to get first game out your mind, we seen it pretty much in the last set where the first game pretty much was one-sided, and the team who was behind the first game really were pulling it back in that second game. So maybe we could have a repeat performance from Soul here.
I just did a little research on Samantha's god pool here. Looks like X-Ball is her second favorite, judging by stats, and then Izanami as well. So, I do like that she did offer the X-Ball over the Izanami.
And honestly, something that I love is the Jabberwock Ultimate, the Darkest of Night pairs so well with Thanatos, because maybe you hear Thanatos going in the air, sure, maybe you see him in the air, and then all of a sudden, nighttime, all the lights go off, and you don't know where Thana's going. I really love that combo.
In the words of Metallica, and that one knock skin, exit light, enter night. Speaking of exit light, enter night, Hercules can really make you fall asleep quickly. But what I mean by fall asleep is really punch you in the face and make you die. So, what do you expect to pick up against the Hercules in this whole lane?
Interesting segue there.
What segue?
I was gonna say, are you a bit annoyed that Hercules can be picked up in the solo lane when it was banned for you pretty much every game you've played?
You know, said this one time, said it 2 times, said it a couple times. And Rick, I do apologize, but I kind of can't control that behind me. But I played Herc one game, man. I'm just telling you, this one game. The next 9 ECL games or scrims.
Oh
First
yeah,
ban.
yeah, no,
First
not
ban.
interested, not interested. Not. Ooh, I love that. I don't even really think we talked about bands coming out here. It looks like it's gonna be support bands coming out from the side of Battleground of the Gods. They take away the Athena and the Ganesh, and the Owilish and the Nuwa looked at from Soul. But I don't know if you guys are here yet. Did you guys see the next pick after that?
The Severus.
Cerberus, exactly, because I freaking love that pick right now.
Absolutely. And we're going to see a Terra with the Baron. So a lot of healing on this team for the and a Thanatos self heal with the Scythe, the Baron Sabity heal on his 2, and the Terra, of course, one of her modelists.
Not only the healing, but if you think about it, there are only 2 characters that the CC immune ult against. So Gibelonk, Vulcan, Terra, they're all just asking to get picked up by this big pupper.
But I do love this Hebo jumble, which has been locked in for Gareth Worms at the final point. Just a lot of really immobile gods that really can't get away from a Hebo, though.
I would normally ask if you guys think it's Poseidon in the jungle or Hebo, but knowing Nevea, we're pretty certain that this is going to be a Hebois in the jungle, aren't we?
Yes, and the one thing for me is you did pick the Hebo last, but into a Thanatos who has slow immunity, into Baron who has a slow cleanse. So hoping he can get the damage off before they can get away with those cleanses.
This will be a really interesting game. I think the Thanatos has to be able to get pressure into this Hebois, or we're going to see a lot of what we see in this game. Because you put a Hebois online, you get a Hebois ahead, especially into a Thanatos. Not going to be a fun time. That said, they've got a much better draft to try to exert that pressure to Soul.
I do want to ask though, we haven't seen Cerberus in such a long time in either support or solo lane. Why do you think we see him?
Uh, I was going to say possibly because of the anti-heal. Because I would imagine that's probably a Baron going into the solo lane, just being able to sort of heal off whatever damage Baron is doing as well and healing himself. It's going to sustain you in that lane a lot longer. Or
Well,
sorry,
I
the
think
terror in the support. Oh my god, it's
I think the other thing that you got to look at is Cerberus is really, really good into Vulcan. Being able to slow, being able to lock down, and then again, like I pointed out earlier, no CC immune ults outside of the Baron Samedi and the Thanatos ult, which takes a while to channel. So I really think the lockdown, the chase, the slow, the prot shred, the anti-heal, like there are a lot of reasons why Cerberus is a good god. Just when they nerfed his damage numbers, the clunkiness on his ult wasn't really worth dealing with anymore, if you will. So I do think he's still a very good god. It's just usually we pick people who are maybe a little bit better in that position. But for this specific game, I love the Cerberus to pair with the carpet, like that slow, like combined. And then if Nevea picks up a Gem of ISO, like you're it's gonna be a root basically.
Well, then also the prot shred he provides with that ghastly breath as well. I mean, imagine that with Poseidon building the Spirit of Magus plus Hebo out of the jungle with a Desolation or a Divine Ruin or something like that. Just absolutely a ton of penetration. But any final thoughts before we go into spectating?
I really also love the Sir pick, presuming the fact you have Poseidon and Hebo picked up, you're sort of forcing the Vulcan to go into Aegis. So I'm expecting a very early level 5 Gant from the Cerberus, knowing that Vulcan should be pretty much a free ult to move into more damage.
Completely agree. I think it'll be interesting. I'm ready to go into the game when you boys are.
Yep, I'll just throw it to a quick break while we get everything set up, and I'll see you guys soon.
Game 2 for you, ladies and gentlemen, for BOTG Earthworms on the KS side again, but this time, Team Soul. What can we see different with this composition they dropped?
A lot more pressure. The Thanatos, the Vulcan, able to exert a good amount of pressure, and I love the Terra pick here. It works so well, especially in the late team fights, along with this Baron. This composition, they have the tools to get the late game if they play it right. So it'll be interesting to see if they manage.
Cerberus actually going to start in the middle lane. We've seen this by a couple of different teams. Why do you think he's here so early?
I was gonna say,
I think he's
possibly
just
trying
gonna
to pick
sit
out
there
the
and
Vulcan, because Vulcan
I think
generally
he's
go
gonna be
turret
waiting.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has no idea. He's going to walk right behind him, start using a ghastly
already.
breath.
And that's Aegis already.
Yeah, he had the scare factor. Didn't know where Nevaeh was. Didn't know if he was going to get ganked by somebody else. So that's unfortunate. He did have to use it, but he really felt like he had.
That was a great title surge by Nevaeh there, taking out minions, the turret, and a little bit of Devil Dog Nick's health, and that's going to be another invade as Nat goes ahead and opts to start off the Harpies in the mid. I'm surprised he didn't kind of run straight to red.
Plus side that Nev didn't hit 2 there immediately, but I think we'll hit 2 off this red buff.
If they manage to get it this time.
Which they
Last
don't.
time, if I
I know
remember
they
right.
did get it, but still not hit 2.
That's a little surprising to me.
Well, if you share the wave at level 1 with somebody else, you will not hit 2. And she shared the red buff with him as well. It's not really worth unless you're going to get the red buff and going to get the mid harpies, because you'll actually be a little bit behind as far as levels go.
But luckily they did manage to pick up the red buff, and it looks like they're gonna split the rights, and she's gonna get her own wave in mid as well, so not too terribly behind.
Not necessarily, and
We have a purple buff invade here, which could be punished if the Hero and Serb also rotate this way.
Silent Ace has picked up the red buff.
he did pick up the red buff, and he does a lot of damage with that ghastly breath. Oh, look at Gum's health. Oh my god! If all 4 of those hit, I would imagine we see a dead, dropped by just a Cerberus there. But Big Rick gonna find that first blood as Samantha felt like she had to use her beads there.
Oh, and Dash just manages to get her out of trouble.
Yeah, Terra did come out with a good stun in the middle of that, but it just wasn't enough to really put any separation between the 2 teams.
Absolutely. Looking at the solo lane, Hiei on the Hercules versus Baron Sabadi. This is the second time I've seen Nulls play the Baron. I've only seen him play the Baron and the... Actually, hold on, we're blinking by Thanatos. Going to get Hie down to half health, but that's really it. Not really anything worthwhile going on.
Half health Hercules. It will not be half health for too much longer.
Yeah, press 3 and get 60 health. And if you get any hit any more than that, you get some more. But Pancake flip up in the sky to driving strike. Gotta get the heal though. Is no.
Pancakes. Come on,
It's
pancakes.
trouble in the mid lane.
I mean, you know why I said
big.
Bigleys, what? I said pancakes because we have waffles already. So if we have pancakes and waffles,
Kill me.
Vulcan needs to be careful in the mid lane, and will get picked up by Rick.
Oh,
oh my goodness, the water sprout there gonna clean up Devil Dog Nick on the Vulcan.
I'm not going to call it lazy backing, but you need to back a lot further off behind your T1 with a Vulcan, with a Hebo in the jungle. Especially
or
if you know
just
what's
even
coming.
have, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Or just have a little bit of ward presence, kind of know where the Hubwa is. Otherwise, you kind of really, you're right. You
That's what I was gonna say. Is I don't see any wards on the map except for the Oracle Vision that BOTG just got about 30 seconds ago. No wards in the inventory for either. Actually, there are 2 wards for Samantha on the X ball, but nothing in the mid lane. Is we have a rotation onto the big Rick, but
The Vulcan ult came out
Ultimate's
just
gonna
for a
be
bit of separation, but Atlas could be in a little bit of trouble here 2-on-1, but just jumps out. But
does get knocked. He doesn't get knocked up. He's only level 3, but Big Rick's coming around the corner. Vulcan ultimate is down already. And he's just gonna walk away. Didn't really want the fight right now. Doesn't want the
and they
smoke,
pick up
but
Rick.
he gets knocked up.
Oh my goodness.
That
That was
was
a
a
great
sick combo. But what makes it so great? I mean, I loved it, but why was it so good right there?
The fact that the knockout came into the Siphon the Thanatos, so Rick pretty much couldn't do anything. Even if he did beat, he was still going to get hit by that Scythe. That was pretty much
And
all
this is
confirmed
exactly
damage.
what we were talking about too. Yeah. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, you're good.
We talked about the Thanatos needing to pressure out this Hubwa. The fact that that kill went on to the Hubwa is such a good thing for him right now. No levels, but having that kill, the opponent having a death, that's really great for this Thanatos.
Gokinator.
In. I love how we both go over to look and see how Gokinator's doing at the exact same time.
Right. I was gonna say he's been by himself in the solo hunter lane, but this is not a solo hunter lane. It's a solo hunter lane for one side and the dual lane for the other. So a lot of different metas being played in the same game.
Oh, and I think
out in
it's...
solo lane here. Don't think he's. As the Thanatos actually ults in to save him, and I think Baron will escape here with his life.
Wow, but he's got to be careful. Hercult is down already, however, does heal back up.
There is a rotating Cerberus though with.
Sionesis is here.
He does have Blink available, but Devil Dog Nick gonna find Nevaeh in the mid lane fighting over those harpies that weren't even quite up.
So I believe that was Devil Dog Nick.
And that was just a great use of his ultimate. Yeah, that was just a great use. He had it ordered. He sniped over the wall with that ultimate. Great job from him. Followed it up with a meatball and easy.
So Null's in the solo lane, opting for the Mage's Blessing. Why do you think we see that over a Warriors or even a Guardian's Blessing?
Just
I
the
think-
mana sustain sort of really helps out Baron in the early stages.
Then as what?
The ability
The
damage
clear
as
is
well.
really difficult as a Baron early, is it not? I mean, you're a little bit more of a solo laner than I am, Mudgeon, but Baron clear is fairly non-existent the first couple levels. Having the sustain and the clear really does help.
Yeah, I can see that. I haven't really played much Baron in solo, but I do know his first ability is only 60 damage, and his heal only does 70 damage at level 1. So he doesn't have the best clear in that lane, so it does help a little bit. But that said, it's only about an extra 8 or 9 damage on top of that, so not sure I would go for the mages. I think I would rather have the guardians in that instance, in my opinion.
But with the mages and also if you get your blue buff, that is automatically a 20% cooldown. The fact he's also got boots, he's working on 30% cooldown if he manages to get that blue buff.
You know, that's true, and he does have the Breastplate of Valor being started, so 40% cooldown and plenty of mana sustain between the MP5 and the mana that all those items provide. Should be able to.
Could be in trouble here with the big boulder coming out from Hercules, but Terra coming in to create some separation. Hebo with the water sprout, and just couldn't get the stun back on that Hebo to confirm a kill, but Severus does manage to ult in. And
Does
will get the Baron to fall.
get the kill for himself. They kill secure once more for the support player. Or was that a kill steal? I need to ask our support player on cast with us what his about his opinion. Mr. Glacier?
Yeah.
So there's this weird things that happened when you mute your mic about how you can't be talking, and I'm just working on figuring out how all that. My bad, guys.
That is much unfortunate.
But yeah, no. Actually, what I was gonna say though is the rest of the team had nothing to do with that. He blinked and said ultimate. That's all him. That wasn't a steal. That wasn't a secure. That's all Silent Aces there. I mean, the fact that the enemy was only at like 200 HP before he went in is completely irrelevant. That was all him.
So it's like Ganesh getting a solo kill?
Exactly. Like even if Ganesh only does like one ability's worth of damage, it's all him. I'm glad you understand. Yeah.
Yes, I believe I understand. Only because I've been playing support on my team the last 3 weeks, so I think I'm starting to understand these things quite sure.
That was unfortunate from the Shivalong cave, but managing to get out, but the rotation is coming, so Terra could be in trouble as Thanatos picks up the Hercules in that solo lane.
Thanatos has really been enjoying looking at the solo lane side, but the pressure from the rest of the map has been there. BOTG actually down 1 kill right now, but up almost 3k gold, probably about 2.5 almost.
You guys mind if I go on a mini rant?
I would love the Majin rant.
I absolutely hate people who think Gladiator Shield on Hercules is.
Wait.
Okay, that's it. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, I don't think you. What? Big Greg manages to pick up a double kill. Real quick, there's a little bit of fighting in mid. Why is Gladiator Shield on Hercules not something that you'd look for?
Actually, 1 second here as blink in by Silent Aces, going to bring in Double Nick, force the Aegis. Kraken is good onto Grump, not onto Double Nick, but the Whirlpool going to clean that up. And Grump trying to get out. Oh, the water hands. That water cannon by Big Rick was nasty.
Sploosh.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised that wasn't a gold Fury call with GoKinetic pushing this map is so far onto this T1 tower. You can pick up the T1 tower, and I think they might start rotating towards it now.
Is he going to get the tower? He does get the tower.
Why do you think that there's only one person with Baron's Row on the entire side for this Exilium Soul roster? It's something that's kind of surprising to me as I look and just now realize.
Well, in the jungle, you can't really buy it because at level, once you're buy your items, you have 700 going to the Assassin's Blessing, 650 going to the Mace Tree. You have 150. You have 150 left, yes, but kind of need more help. Oh, is it 700 now?
I believe so.
See, I haven't jungled since the end of season 5, so I probably just haven't been paying attention if it got nerfed before that. So yeah, you're right. It only leaves 100 gold, so that would explain that. But I think even if I had the 150, I would
be regressed on again. However, Thanatos Scythe Scream, and he does get picked up. And you know, normally I tell my jungler to stay away from the solo lane a lot of the time. But
Big Rick
is doing
with the big crushing wave on the Devil Dog Nick. Gonna take him down and go back to mid lane and farm with his friend Nevaeh.
Aces set this up. Rick managing to pick up the kill on the Thanatos. Can they follow up with any more kills?
It's possible, but Grump has now double dashed out. But this is a Hebo. The Water Carpet is on cooldown though, and does not have Blink. Is not back to the base to get that item yet. But Knowles uses the ultimate, but it's going to be his own coffin he falls into.
I see what you did there. That's phenomenal. I'm definitely gonna be
Plays.
using.
Get up there.
Nevaeh honestly has been playing very well after that first little kind of unfortunate kill. She's just been farming very well, opting for the pen boots and the spear magus first, and so she's doing a good amount of damage. Stone of Binding picked up from Cerberus here into a gauntlet, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up as well the Void Stone to help him do so much more and help his Habwa do so much more.
Buff with double kill on the Vulcan and the Terra.
That's unfortunate. The Earthshaker did come out, but just a tad too early since red buff wasn't quite up yet. But I know
And
the end
Gekinator
goal
has a
was to get a kill.
full item on Samantha here, and that's just something that's really rough, honestly, as he's able to tank this Gold Fury himself and take it down without zero contest.
I was gonna say, those double kills were the first kills that Hebo was not involved in.
Oh wow. I'm glad somebody else was tracking that. You know, I don't keep up with Big Rick that much. Just kidding, Rick. Love you, man.
Honestly, it is kind of funny. You guys kind of missed his 2v1. I'll kind of do a quick recap. So he's over kind of halfway between the blue and the fire giant pit, and he just turns around, ults, knocks up ones, and just all of a sudden from like him being 200, 300 health, just picks up a hot double kill. It was really nice. There you go, Rick. You happy? We called it out for you.
I think I call it in the top right of my camera, just behind the minimap.
He's rotating now. The Nulls, who does not have a solo lane tier 1 tower.
Oh,
EA's also here. The water sprout into the crushing wave and waves himself right back to the.
honestly, the Habwa now is just so big, doing so much damage. Just like you called out, the Divine Urn here, very, very impactful, shutting down. But even more than that, just the base damage out of this, it's doing more than a Scythe does. From
Oh
this
my
Thanatos at this
god,
level.
though. Look at his health. Oh, the water hands
I
took
would've
it down
go
to
in on it.
health. He blinks out, but is he going to
Does
dunk
actually
down
get
on
it?
top? He
Kill.
does. Does he have the 3? He shuts down Big Rick in the right hand side jungle. Rick, I
Yeah,
can't
get
believe
fucked,
that,
Rick.
man.
No, I'm just kidding.
That was actually a really good play by Nat, understanding how much damage he could take and how long he could be in the air until he could get his scythe back off.
Yeah,
And honestly, waiting for that blink out as well is pretty big.
I mean, waiting for the blink out was a good call, but the fact that Rick blinked away from He-Hi the Hercules who could at least follow up with the kill, that's a bit of an odd choice.
And that's going to be Vulcan's ult down as well in mid lane, trying to desperately create some zoning for himself, but Hercules doesn't really care at this point in the game. However, that's Hercules.
He-Hi
Is he
gonna-
is 1 HP.
How did he get out with 1
Solo.
HP, though? Oh my goodness. The life of the party was great, and there was a last follow-up. He just had, what, maybe 10 HP left out of the whole time?
Honestly, if this Thanatos had one more level, I feel like that's just a kill there.
Yeah, I can see that because he only does have right now, between his Assassin's Blessing and the Crusher, 15 or 20 pin, and a Hercules being level 14, and already a Glad Shield and a tier 2 of the Valor. Not quite enough to be able to take him down.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually love the optimization coming in from the. You know, we don't see Baron play that much right now, but do you think this is gonna be a Gem of Isolation? Because I actually love that.
I think it does fit very well on Baron, but it may be an Ethereal Staff.
Oh, that's Vulcan
Ooh.
dead. Wow, that is a lot of damage that does come out of Big Rick on this Evo jungle.
But now there's a
Vulcan-
5-man grouping in the mid lane. They're going to take down that tower. Where do they go from here?
Honestly, I think you can take a tier 2 pretty free, and then you can force a fight at fire, depending on if you can pick up.
Speaking of trying to pick up someone, I think that could be in trouble on Thanatos if they T2 just slowly tanks down. Okay,
But the focus is on the tower. That's a huge Cerberus ult.
Big Kraken as well, and Samantha will go down. You know you said go Fire Giant? You just
I don't think you have to. I think that's the game.
Yeah, but Nick does have ultimate available, so they've got to be really careful about their spacing. Can't be
There's the
too
ult.
close.
does hit Nevaeh, and I think it hit He-Hi as well, but I think that's pretty
But
much all defense
He
down
has
now.
a good amount of defense. And do you think you pull out here, or do you think they're gonna
Yeah,
keep going?
I would go back with side aces. Not really
The
strong enough to tank a Titan right now.
For sure. Looks like. Do you think they'll look for the fire giant, or do you think they'll just look to reset, or what do you do here, Majin? How do you kind of? They're in the start where they can kind of start to close out the game. Rick is just huge right now. No one can even look at him without dying. How do you kind of close out the game from here?
So you do have two towers left on the map, T2 and Duo Lane. That's the wave is pushed up, and a T2 and Solo Lane. They probably could have gotten fire there for free, but wanting to be safe, get the Pyromancer, buy some items, get out of base. And I would at least send the Habwa over to the right hand side of the map and push those waves down, while the rest of the team kind of uses a 4-man grouping to push that left side.
Primal Fury has just spawned, so I would imagine that's probably going to be the next big objective. They don't want to force an early fire giant, or this fire giant here. Mantis might
Honestly,
pull
if
out
they
here.
can get a really good pick here, they can just go straight to
Oh.
fire.
Nat, got stunned in place. That was a lot of damage.
And then the flip too. Oh, Aces manages to secure that kill for his squad, but that's exactly what we're talking about with the pick. That's a huge pick because honestly, that's the only player on that team that's
And now
really
Knowles is by himself.
What a big Vulcan ult.
Nice over the top with the life of the party to pair with it, but not going to find any kills here.
Oh
Quite yet.
no! Oh no! That such good, very well.
Such good, very well. Indeed, I guess. I have no idea what
Samantha
you
gets
just said.
picked up,
In trouble, and that should be game here.
and I think that should be game, folks. He's
Terra
gonna come
Thanatos.
in. We've got a fire wave coming in as well.
Frenzy.
That's
So
gonna
I-
be the frenzy pumped.
Yeah, I think the big difference here, and fortunately for Team Soul, they'll have to go back to the drawing board for week 3 of the Classic League. I think the big difference here is you just saw one person getting picked off by themselves against 3 people in the jungle, and then it happened again, and then it happened again. They just kept getting picked off one by one, not really having a chance to group up or staying together.
And honestly, they played the early game very well, I'd say. The Thanatos, ending 4-4, that's fairly deceptive, I would say. I think he did very good kind of camping out the Hercules, getting his Baron online. Unfortunately, the Baron wasn't ever able to come online. The grouping, the positioning, like you said, was just very difficult to deal with because every single time they looked anywhere, there were 2 or 3 people on one.
Absolutely, and looking at the builds here, there was an Ethereal Staff that did come out of the Baron. I think either's fine. I think the Ethereal is nice into Hercules.
Oh, I just realized something.
I think I saw it as well.
Look at the Cerberus build. Oh, I love it so much. I also hate it because it's, but I love it so much.
A surprise
Oh.
Bumba's Master round out the 4th item there. Not something.
Speedy doggo.
Not something I think you should regularly be building, but
But in this game, it worked perfectly because it allowed him to rotate so much. It allowed him to track down so much, and he wasn't the focal tank. Hihei was. Hercules was nigh unkillable outside of an execute once it got to that. We say late game. It was only 18 minutes in, but I love that. That really, really strong play coming out from Girthworms here.
I think so. They had a really good day, and the only thing I can hope from this is I hope that Soul notices what went wrong in this set, and they can channel this and practice and get this going in the right direction next week.
I think you kind of seen it between game 1 and game 2 that they fixed that early game, that they weren't getting absolutely out pressured too badly, but just the sort of grouping up together in the team fights is something that still a little bit work needs to be done on it.
I think it's just a case of space stationitis. I think just they've got the area where they can kind of figure it out, and then the other 2 areas of the game just don't really go well. So if they can figure out how to put together a good early, mid, and late game all, I think this Soul team has a really good chance to pull out some good victories. But right now it just seems like they're struggling to get through either the early or the mid. And when they play the early well, it's just the grouping was out rotated by BOTG.
I think that's very fair to say there. But that's gonna be all that I can really say for the set. Anything else from you guys?
Just thank you for all the smite. It was really enjoyable games to watch both sets tonight.
Yeah, so I think I'll sort of close out by saying thank you for everyone who's joined. If you were here from the start, which was I think about 3 p.m. Eastern with the pre-recorded games, I literally love all of you. Thank you all for coming out and joining us, and we'll see you next time.